Hello, hello. Okay, there we go. That's so annoying. Every now and then, OBS just like suddenly, I don't know, doesn't disconnect, but just doesn't recognize the mic. So I just said a whole spiel and didn't realize I couldn't. Whatever. Welcome in, Saucy. Welcome in, Ivory. Congrats on first, Saucy, and congrats on second, Ivory. You know, it's a good thing I went to the store just before stream and got the bottles of water. So I guess I'll repeat what I said. Hey, what's up everyone? Carl Wolf here. We are playing some more STEINS Gate, where we are now going on the next route. We have 3 endings now, and we need to get 3 more. So here goes the next one. we have to answer immediately. The fact that you answer no matter what, and the difference is just whether how quickly you answer it, is strange, but whatever. I guess the difference is that we're the one answering, whereas last time it was Kaguri who answered. The phone I pressed against Kaguri's head stopped ringing, and in that moment, the world changed. Changed how, though? It was inside a deep black darkness, and there was no sound. No temperature. Just darkness, cold, and silence. No one was here. I didn't even know if I was asleep or awake. There was nothing but a vague sense of presence. Nothingness. Nothingness spreading out to infinity. Were your eyes just closed? Huh? What was I doing? Wasn't I...
ちょっと岡部、いつまでもそんなところで寝てると風邪ひくわよ。
So this part is the same? Hey, Okabe, if you keep lying there, you'll catch a cold. Huh? I turned towards the voice. Standing there, next to the open curtains of the development room was...
何よ。
Last time she didn't pop out so quickly, right? What?
なんだ
Oh,
クリス
there you are.
いたの
Kurisu. Huh? I don't even know how to say that second word.
いたのかとはずいぶんご挨拶だな。さっきから。
Why is he acting like this is normal? Hey, Dustball, welcome in. What do you mean, there you are? I've been here the whole time.
そうだった
Have you?
そうよ。
Yep,
昨日も
yesterday and the
昨日
day
も
before.
ずっとここにい
I've
た
been
わ
here a
よ。
long time. It did seem that way, come to think of it. My head seemed like it was full of fuzz. But I wasn't sleepy, or tired, or anything like that. Hello, Kai, welcome in. Thanks for your daily check-in. My mind was very awake. What did Frosty just say? All these Lunar Fang check-ins got me thinking. The guild's got a whole HQ on Discord? I mean, basically. Congrats on third, Kai. Hi, Kai. But something was missing. Something important.
そういえば
Hey,
ダリアン
where are Daru and Mayuri?
あんた、本当に大丈夫？何か不具合でもあったんじゃない？
Are you really okay? Did something happen to you?
どういう意味だ
What do you mean?
橋田もまゆりも。ほら。
Mayuri's
そこに
alive?
いるじゃない。
What world is this? Video edit program drives me nuts at the moment. I edited Ryan's video, birthday video, last year. But that was a very basic where I just put the clips together and put in the sound. Aside from that, I haven't edited for like 5, 6 years. Actually, more like 6, 7 years. I can only imagine how much more annoying they've gotten. It should have gotten easier, but the one I was using just to do Ryan's didn't seem easier. Hashida and Mayuri are right there. Look.
Eh?
Huh?
オカリン、てってれー。
僕のこの大きすぎる存在
How
感を
could you miss
見
somebody
落
as
と
big
して
as
る
me,
なんて
Ocarine?
どうかしてるぜ、オカリン。
Oh, that's right. Daro and Mayuri were always here, weren't they? No, it wasn't just them. What's happening? Why are you doing it like this? Kiyama, you doing okay, Nya? I'll use my kitty charms to make you feel better, Nyan.
京馬さん、僕
Kiyama,
にできることが
if
あった
there's
ら
anything I can do to make you feel
何
better,
でも言ってくだ
just
さ
tell
い
me.
ね。
Ferris and Lukako, too. And
岡部倫太郎のために
I'm sorry,
そ
where
の
are we
辺
right
の
now?
食べられそうな草で私が特別ジュース作ってあげるよ。
I'll make you a special juice from the edible grasses I found in the area, Rentaro Okabe.
私もいるよ、
I'm here too,
岡部くん。
Okabe. Suzuha and Moeka. All of the lab members were in the lab, like they always were. Are we in a simulation? That's right. This was my daily life. This was how I spent every day.
ふむ。全員いるようだな。
I don't think we had every member even in the first game. It's cool to see, though. To the point that I might make this my thumbnail at the end of stream. Huh. It appears everyone has arrived.
では、
Therefore,
ただいまより
we shall now begin the 65,536th round table. Are you ready?
会議を行う。お前たち、
まったく、いつも暑苦しい
You're
わね。
always so loud.
お前こそ。
And you need to wipe that self-satisfied expression right off your face, assistant.
だから私はあんたの
I
助手
keep
になった
telling you
方が
I
いい
am
と
not
言って
your
るわ。
assistant.
オカリンとクリスちゃんは
Ocarina and Kurisu are always such good friends.
イチャイチャしやがって。
You're the perfect
リア充爆
couple.
発しろ。
Now go explode.
ちょっと橋田、私はい
Wait,
つも
Hashida.
こいつとイチャ
I
イ
am
チャ
not
した
in
って
a
言うのよ。
relationship with this guy.
仲がいい
Hydrate already?
喧嘩するって
Thank
言う
you.
にゃ。
Why is Ferris saying this? When Ferris wants him. They say the closer you are, the more you fight, Nya.
羨ましいです。
I'm jealous.
漆原ルカも一緒にイチャイチャすればいいじゃん。
I don't need luck, I need restraint from not flipping desk. True. You should join in the fun, Urushibara.
え、ダメです。
What? I
僕には
couldn't.
そんなことできませ
I
ん。
just couldn't.
イチャイチャ。
Got a new subscriber, but I don't know if I should call them out or just let them silently subscribe. But thank you for the subscription on YouTube. To my new subscriber on YouTube. Fun.
ねえ、お前たち。
Stop wasting time, guys. We're starting the meeting.
さっさと会議を。
ね、今日の議題は何なんだ？
So, what are we talking about today?
そんなものは決まっている。
What else? Our topic for today is What?
議題は
Our topic.
岡部
Okabe. Something was wrong.
おかりん
Everything seemed the same, but
どうしたんオカリン。
what's wrong, Okarin? That's right. It was cold.
今日も
I didn't feel it.
京馬さん
No emotions.
岡部倫太郎
No warmth.
岡部
What, are we in Amadeus? What's happening? Everyone was here. But it was cold and dark. Cold. Cold.
岡部くん
Okay, that's a lot of colds.
岡部倫太郎
It was so cold, it felt like the marrow of my bones was going to freeze.
京馬さん
Like my bones were made of ice. Like all the blood in my body had been replaced with mercury.
オカリン。
It was cold. I think we get it. It felt like I was going to freeze at any moment. What was this?
おかり
Where was this place? Where was I?
岡部
I 1.05. Are we back in the being tortured? Where was I? What was I doing? Ah. I tried to speak, but the words didn't come out. It looked like I was lying on a bed. And a very hard one at that. I slowly looked around. It wasn't the lab, and it wasn't my room. Phew, I had to rewatch 10 minutes from the last STEINS stream to remember what was happening. Fair enough. I've been having to, look at the end of my last stream real quick as well. It wasn't the lab, and it wasn't my room. The room was old and gloomy. Of course, I'd never seen it before. What was I doing here? There was a terrible pain in my head, like someone had jammed an electrode in my brain. I tried to raise my hand as I lay there, but it was too heavy. Hello, Chaos. Welcome in. How are you today? It was like all the joints in my body had frozen. You're just waiting for that timer, aren't you, Ivory? Thank you, Ivory. So glad I managed to buy some this morning. I went last night, but the store closed at 7. So I went for nothing and had to come home and wait until morning. And I'm also doing good, Chaos. Glad that you're doing good as well. It took all my strength to slowly sit up. Damn, Kai is top first by a mile. Yeah, Kai's insane. He might also have second and third. At least not a mile. Yes, a mile. That's totally a mile. Or at least a couple miles. Each time I moved a little, my muscles screamed and pain ran through my whole body. What's that rating about? The one that... It's the, on Twitch, the, it's the top 10 for those who have gotten first. Yeah. Because on Twitch, you can have the redeems, like first, second, and third. So that's the ratings for the, who's been first the most to streams, who's redeemed the first. After several minutes, I finally succeeded in sitting on the edge of the bed and looking down. I realized I was wearing a white gown, like hospital patients wear. And there was some kind of equipment on my head, and the cables coming out of it were connected to a strange machine. I've been here a bit, yeah. Just a bit. What had happened to me? Just a moment ago I was... That's right. Kagari. Kurisu's memories had been downloaded into Kagari's head. We tried to erase them by overwriting them with Kagari's own memories. See, I knew Kai would be top for the second. He might not be top for third, but I feel like he is. Oh, he's not. Kaz is top. That's probably because Kaz would usually redeem all three. Or like second and third. And then... That's right. I remembered now. The worldline had shifted right after that. What had happened then? I tried to remember, but it was like my mind was filled with fog. For now, I needed to figure out where I was. I took off the headgear and got out of bed. I'm looking at the audio in OBS. It looks like I need to turn up the game more. Hopefully that's good. And collapsed. This didn't make sense. Was I just dizzy after all that was going on in my brain, in my head? I tried to stand up again. And I couldn't get any strength in my legs. I kept standing up and falling over, and in the end, I was only able to get up by grabbing the side of the bed. How could standing on my own 2 feet be so exhausting? I mean, I know you're out of shape, but damn. Was I sick with some terrible disease? And then maybe I'd been in bed for several days. I somehow managed to drag my weak legs to the door. Maybe we've been in a coma for years? It was bizarrely heavy. Or maybe it just seemed that way to me. It only opened after I put my full weight on it. The door was locked, but it seemed to be the kind that could be opened from the inside. That's the most intense pass of STEINS Gate 0? Interesting. Or maybe you meant part. I'll go with pass. I walked down the dark hallway, leaning up against the wall for support. At the end of the hall were stairs. There were not any other doors. This is... I clung to the railing and slowly walked up. I meant part. Kind of felt like you meant part. Slowly walked up them. At the end of the stairs, I found a hatch. What does 8-Ball mean by that? Kev? Why is it calling you Kev? Using the full strength of my back, I was just barely able to get it open. I was inside an old building. I walked down the crumbling hallway, still clueless as to what was going on, and finally found the door to the outside. Exhausted, I staggered outside. And I saw... mountains of shattered rubble. Is this the radio building?
なんだこれ
What the heck? Rows of destroyed abandoned buildings. It is. Oh wait, is it? That seems really tall. Exposed twisted steel girders. At first, I thought it was a movie set. But it was all far too realistic for that. The walls, the windows, the ceilings, everything was destroyed. Little bits of rubble covered the ground. There were cracks in the asphalt on the road, making it impossible to walk straight. And it wasn't just directly in front of me. I spun around a full 360 degrees and saw the same scene everywhere. I smelled oil. I smelled something burning. I looked up to the sky. It was dark and gloomy. I thought it might just be cloudy, but something else seemed to be going on. I could see the hazy outline of the sun beyond the black curtain that covered the sky. Do we need a gas mask? A violent pain in my throat made me cough. I quickly covered my mouth with the sleeve of my gown. My eyes stung. I tried once more to calm down and see if I could remember what happened, but I had no luck. Well, you of all people knows that it's just not how it works. You've completely overwritten the actual Rentaro of this world. That was not her face. Or her clothes. All I knew for sure was that there had been a worldline shift when I deleted Karisu's memories from inside Kagari. The memories held by the Amadeus Karisu. Okay, maybe that was her face? Whatever. And the memories implanted in Kagari. And maybe when whoever owned them changed. That is, whoever held Karisu's time machine theory, the worldline changed with it. This was another altered worldline. Which meant, what I was seeing was... I saw what looked like an ash-covered stick, poking out of the ground in the corner of my eye. I slowly went to take a closer look. It was sticking out of the rubble, and at the tip, it split into 5 smaller branches. What? Oh. What was that scream, though? It was a hand. It was a human hand that had been scorched pitch black. And now he's sick. A terrible feeling came rising up out of my stomach. If you've been asleep for at least several days, do you have anything to throw up other than a little bit of the lining of your stomach? Or like the acid, just a little bit. Because trust me, I've thrown up on an empty stomach. It's extremely unpleasant. Because you're trying to throw up something. There's literally nothing but like spit or a tiny bit of acid to throw up. Suddenly, I thought I saw something move. Someone was there. Where? I listened carefully to try and pick them out. The other side of that big building. I could hear some kind of sound from over there. Was someone there? If there was, maybe they could tell me what the hell was going on. Trying my best not to make any sound, I peeked through the walls of the crumbling building. And they were there all right. And there were people there. Now that's a new experience. Never threw up on an empty stomach. Gotta try it out. I don't recommend it. But to each their own. Lots of them. But they weren't people anymore. And they were just human-shaped wads of meat. Piled up into a mountain. And on top of the mountain was a pack of dogs. Oh God. Maybe start walking away and don't worry about the details before they see you. Something long and slick was hanging out of the dog's mouth. Intestines. They were eating them. They were eating the bodies. I mean, the bodies are meat. And dogs, at the very least, are omnivores. The stench was horrible. The sound of the flies was overwhelming. It was like something out of hell. Oh God. My gaze met the vacant eyes of one of the bodies. I would not take my eyes off the dogs. One of its eyes fell out, and black insects crawled out of the empty socket. I ran away. I ran as fast as I could, stumbling forward on failing legs. Somewhere. Was there somewhere around here that was sane? But no matter how far I went, it was the same thing. Can we get back to the lab? Mountains of rubble. Rows of abandoned buildings. All I could see were the dead. There were no living humans. Oh, you made it here. I recognize this place. And then I found it. There were rows of huge buildings, which all looked as if they were about to fall over. The roads were full of cracks. There was a warped overpass sticking out of the ground. I can understand being shocked by a dead body, but when there's a dog with human insides in his mouth, no way. Yeah, true. True. Because it's like, the dogs, I mean, best case scenario, the dogs recognize that those are dead bodies, and thus they're hungry. There's no food around, they need to eat. And they're just simply going after the dead bodies. Worst case scenario, they've gotten a taste for humans. And might want some fresh meat. A few rows of iron and railroad ties. I knew it. I knew this place. It was only a shadow of its former self, but I knew it. You and me both, brother. You know what? I was almost going to say that, but I was going to say that at the previous spot. Because I saw in the top right, in the background, I saw a building with some anime girl signs. And I was almost going to point that out and be like, yeah, at least we know we're in Akihabara. But this works too. This was Akihabara. Which meant,
ラボは
what happened to the lab? Where was Mayuri? Where was Daru? Where was Ferris? What about Lukako? Where's Susaha? What happened to Maho and Kagari? Just as I ran towards the lab to find out, I heard footsteps behind me. I barely heard that. It was so quick. Was that multiple? Like soldiers? Or... Can't tell if it's one person not being quiet enough, or if it's like a couple of like scavengers or soldiers. Probably scavengers more like, but I mean just like some sort of like group that is adapted and is like almost soldier-like, but not actual soldiers maybe. So scavengers. Rough footsteps, stomping over the rubble. More than one set. Okay, yeah. They got louder and louder, and soon I saw them coming towards me from between the crumbling buildings. There were 3 of them. They each had assault rifles in their hands.
貴様そこで何をしている
You, what are you doing there? When they saw me, they all pointed their guns at me. There was so much I wanted to ask them. There were things I wanted to know. But the only thought that came to me was that I needed to get away. But even as I tried to turn and run, my body refused to listen.
動くな
And don't move! They must have sensed that I was about to flee, because one of them yelled. Okay, chill out. Holes appeared in the concrete at my feet. They'd shot at me. They really shot at me. They'd shot at me with real guns. If I'd been just a little closer, they would have hit me. More like if you would have stepped forward when they did it, they would have hit you. That feels like they were intentionally trying to, warn you. Because I feel like this is not a world to waste bullets. Unless their ancestors were stormtroopers, then sure. I was too scared to stand. The men got closer, still holding the guns. Run. You have to run. But it was like my body belonged to someone else. It wasn't listening to me. The men kept getting closer. And then... That's not good. There was another sharp noise. Actually... Or was that someone outside the group? Outside the group? One of the men collapsed to the side. He hit his head on the rubble and stopped moving. Huh? The other 2 waved their guns around, clearly confused as to what just happened.
邪魔だ
A woman? Suzu? Or... It wasn't Moeka. mean, if it's someone we know, that noise is somewhat different from a normal gun. I wonder what it is, because it's not stated in the VN. It definitely sounded different, which is why... At first, I thought the sound was because of what it hit, but then I realized, no, that wasn't quite it. That was different. You're in the way. Something dragged me to the ground. Yeah, that's very different. That's the sound of it firing, not hitting. And then more gunshots. The two of them fell backwards, still holding their weapons, at almost the exact same time. They died. Right in front of me. Someone had died. I could do nothing more than sit there and watch as a silhouette moved in front of me.
お前、死にたいのか?
Who is that? Suzu usually talked a little lighter than that. That could just be an authoritative Suzu that's on the battlefield. Could be somebody else. Are you trying to get killed? I looked up. And the person I saw was... That was Suzu. So it's in her... She's in soldier mode. Voice. Suzaha.
ほら、いつまでボケっと座っているつ
Come
もり
on.
だ?
How long are you just gonna sit there?
お前
Did you kill them?
殺したのか
何を生っちょろいこと言ってるんだ?
What kind of stupid question is that? It was a colder voice than I'd ever heard. Yeah, I almost didn't recognize her because of it.
お前
When I look at her, I came to realize that men can get...
だよな
I mean... I did say she is waifu. You're... Suzaha, right? Forgot he's supposed to have a bit of a raspy voice right now. Her iron mask of an expression suddenly changed to surprise. But that was only for a moment. A second later, and the fierceness had returned.
お前、何者だ?
She doesn't know us. What world line did we just step into us? I mean, she doesn't recognize us right off the bat. Maybe when we say our name, she might. Who are you? Did she really not?
俺のこと
You
知らないのか
don't know who I am. Did the change in the world line mean that Suzaha and I had never met?
岡部だよ
It's me,
岡部
Okabe.
倫太郎だ
Rentaro Okabe. Either she's a bit surprised at the name, or at the idea that we seem to think she's supposed to know us. The expression on her face changed again.
岡部、倫太郎?
Okay, she
そんな
recognizes the name.
バカな。
Rentaro Okabe? That's impossible. Two pairs of icy footsteps? Moeka and Gagari? Or Yuki? Two pairs of icy footsteps sounded in the darkness.
こっちだ。
This way. After I'd given my name, Suzaha had stared at me suspiciously for a moment. Then she'd made some kind of call and told me to come with her. She made me wear a blindfold almost the entire time, though. so I had no idea which way I'd gone, or where I was.
止まれ。
Stop. I did as she said. When I heard the knock, I finally realized we were in front of a door.
君に萌え萌え。
Daru? Moe moe for you.
バッキュンキュン。
I might as well try to pronounce that. Bakyun kyun.
入れ。
Come in. Evidently, that was the password. I could only think of one man who'd choose such a stupid password. Of course. Now look at him, that's a real man there. Wait, is he about to look different? I heard the sound of a heavily locked door opening, and at last, I saw a dimly lit room in the darkness. Wrong timing. The room was piled high with what looked like mechanical junk. Rows of instruments lined the walls. A man was sitting in front of them, looking straight at me. A man? Not a big man? Not Daru? You're saying a man, so you barely recognize him?
よかった。やっと目を覚ましたんだな、オカリン。
You're finally awake? So you knew I was asleep? Why was I alone in some random building, completely vulnerable? I'm so glad. You're finally awake, Ocarine. Who was this guy? How did he know my name? He must have been in his mid-40s. 40s? Wait, how old are we? He was a big, broad-shouldered man with a stubbly face. There was a sharp but gentle light in his eyes. I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before.
あなたは。
Were we brought to the future somehow? Because supposedly he said we're finally awake, though. But Suzuha said it was impossible. But he seemed to expect it. Who are you?
やだな。
Oh, damn.
僕のこと忘れたん？そりゃいくらなんでも冷たいぜ、オカリン。
Why has he almost got a Giga Chad face? I know he aged up, but damn. Is that what he was hiding under all that roundness of fat? I can hear the gears in your brain. Still got that hair, though. And the hat. The clothes overall, actually. So we're in the future, so that means this is Suzuha during her time. With her father. So even though he's a weirdo and whatnot, this is the father that she loves, that she recognizes. Ah, jeez. Did you forget about me? Even after all that's happened. That still hurts, Ocarine. The way he talked. And that voice. There was only one person it could be. But that was...
まさか。
Are you...
ダル
Daru?
か。
The man's face broke into a broad smile.
よかった。覚えててくれて。
Good. You did
てっき
remember.
り忘れられたの
I
かと
thought you'd
思ったんだ
forgotten.
ぜ。ダル。
Daru. Is it really you?
こんなナイスガイ。
Who else do you know that's as handsome as me? Right, Suzuha?
鈴葉。
せめてもうちょっと痩せてくれれば認めなくもないけど。
You want him to lose more weight? What do you mean? I'm gonna need to see that stomach then. I might admit that. If you lost a little weight,
そう言うなって。これでも若い頃に比べれば。
Don't say that. I've lost a lot since I was younger. Indeed. The Daru in front of me was quite a bit slimmer than the Daru I knew.
というか父さん、少し言葉遣いおかしくない？
And wait, Dad, why are you talking funny? So he has matured, but he's trying to go back to a way that we can recognize?
僕も久々にこういう話し方したよ。でも、オカリンはこの方が
I don't usually talk like this, but I figured it would make things easier for Okarin. The more pressing issue, though, was his age. He was clearly a middle-aged man. The youngest I could possibly imagine him to be was his early 40s. And then I saw a shelf in the corner. I saw a man I didn't know reflected in its glass. Oh, okay, well that helps. So our mind has been sent forward. That's an interesting concept. At least that's what it feels like it happened. Usually we've been doing it in the past, going backwards. Did I even consider the idea of going forward? I don't think I did. Very, very forward, yeah. I don't think I did consider that. I don't think. It was another man like him, in his 40s. He was staring at me with a gloomy, sunken face. I slowly raised my right hand, and the man raised his left as if copying me. Daru,
一つ
tell me something.
教えて。何でもどうぞ。
Anything you want, man.
今は
What year is it? Daru's smile quickly became something more serious as he answered me.
2036年。世界は
It's
戦乱の真っ
2036.
只中だ。
The world is at war. Daru gave me all the details.
それじゃあ
Then this really is the year
本当に今は
2036.
2036年なのか。
So how are we alive? What future is this? It's a future where we're alive somehow.
そういうこと。
Why'd she say that was impossible, though? And yet Daru seems to have expected this. That's right. It seemed unbelievable. But Daru's appearance, and more than anything, my own, made it undeniable. In 2036, Suzuha had said that World War III would start sometime in the next 10 years. 5.7 billion people would die, and the population of Tokyo would drop to a tenth of what it once was. After that, the Third World War itself would end, but the chaos would continue. And even in Japan, no, everywhere around the world, battles would continue. Was that what I'd just seen?
だが、どうして俺は
So why did they even waste bullets? Did they want? I guess they wanted to know who we were. They wanted some information. Maybe information to possible resources or something. But... but, why don't I remember any of this? All my memories were of 2011. I had no memories of the past 25 years. My last memory was of erasing Karisu's memories from Kaguri's head.
それに俺は
And Suzuha told me that I would die in 2025.
鈴葉から聞かされて
Why am I alive?
それは私も聞きたい、父さん。
Okay, so that's why she thought it was impossible. I was thinking that's why. But Daru expected us. I want to know that too, Dad. Suzuha chimed in.
私たちはみんな
We were all told Uncle Okarin died 10 years ago. Sorry, doing this much talking makes me yawn. Because obviously, the reason behind yawning is when you don't breathe enough. So I guess I'm talking enough to not breathe enough. Suzuha leaned over him. What's going on here, Dad? Did you lie to all of us? Calm down, Suzuha. I'll explain. Daru looked at me, as if he was remembering old times, and then resumed his explanation. Okarin, you said you've only got memories up to halfway through January 2011, right? Yeah, the worldline changed in January 2011. That's all I remember. I've gotten 25 years older without realizing it. That fact was starting to eat away at me. Maybe there's some problem with your body. Or maybe you're just confused. Okay, that implies he didn't expect this. He wasn't surprised that we were alive and was like, oh, you're awake. But this kind of implies he wasn't expecting our past self. Take some pauses. It's easier to read alone as you don't need to dub all the lines. I mean, true. I do need to slow down a bit, but I can't seem to help it. I at least, I'm not speed reading as much as I was before, for whatever reason. Because for some reason I was always trying to read fast, just without even paying attention to it, so I've tried to slow down since then. You should have memories up to the end of January 2011. The end. Why the end of the month? Oh wait. Oh, he was expecting us to go... So he wasn't expecting it, just not halfway through. It was the end of the month when Maho-tan saved your memory data. Hyajo saved my memories. Her experiment to restore memories. So it's not that we time leap into the future. It's that she saved our memories from back then, and then they were recently implanted? I guess you told Maho-tan to take memory samples from you, to help with Amadeus research, right? I volunteered for Amadeus. And then I realized something incredible. Which means that inside my brain... Yep. Just like you guessed. Your memories are the ones that were digitized in 2011. Digitized memories. Inside my head. Wait, Dad. I don't understand what's going on. How's Uncle Okarin alive anyway? You told me he died in 2025, right? Physically or mentally? Uh-huh. He did. For all intents and purposes, anyway. How's game going? Game's going well. It's getting crazy. Which is saying something, because this game has already been crazy many times over. Oh yeah, this is a visual novel. The only gameplay is mainly making specific choices of like answering a phone call or a text message to get down on different routes for multiple endings. That's the gameplay of this game. Otherwise, it's reading. These are almost pure visual novels, almost. Like 90%. The only thing more pure than that is just a straightforward visual novel with no multiple endings or anything. For all intents and purposes. That was when the race to make the time machine was at its peak. Everybody in the world wanted the paper that Kurisu Makase had written, and her memories. But at the time, Stratfor had everything that she'd left behind. Stratfor. But even if they had it, they couldn't read it. They couldn't break the lock, you see. So what's your opinion? Are you reading a VN or are you playing a VN? When it comes to this one, I do feel like it leans a lot more towards I'm reading a VN. Like I said, it's like 90%. Or even maybe 90 to 95. And then there's that remaining percentage that is the text messages and the multiple endings. Because technically, if you wanted to, you could just go with whatever ending you get and call it a day. And you don't have to do multiple endings. And different people could be like that and get different endings. Or you could be like me and go for every multiple ending. But it does feel like I'm reading a VN, an interactive VN. A minorly interactive. Because every now and then you get those random text messages that I pause the story for. So that's me vaguely playing. Carl, read us all a bedtime story. I kind of would, yeah, I think I would say reading a VN when it comes to Steins Gate. More than playing. But still a touch of playing. By the way, I was the one who built that lock in 2010. So they decided to capture someone who knew her well and get information from them. Us. And that was me. They did everything they could think of to try and get information about Kurisu Makase out of you. When we rescued you, your mind was shattered. You'd lost the ability to ever survive on your own. You were as good as dead. There was no chance you'd get better. Then, his body was alive. That's right. Ocarina himself had given me the idea. He was starting to get worried about how they were after him. But you could have at least told me, right? You know what they say, right? To deceive your foes, first deceive your friends. Hey, he's not wrong. Especially with something like this. Seems like even now, it's still a lot of information war. When it comes to this whole time machine thing, everyone's at war for this. Then yeah, it's going to always be an info war. But Suzuha seemed a little depressed. It must have come as a shock that her dad didn't trust her. Don't be like that, Suzuha. Only a very few people in Valkyrie knew about this. I knew the name Valkyrie. Suzuha had talked about it a lot in 2010. It was the name of Daru and Suzuha's resistance organization. Let's move on. Okarin's mind was shattered. He was incapable of surviving. If we didn't do something, even his body would have died. So a few people who knew the truth had been watching over him for years in another facility. So that deceiving friends to deceive enemies is not a sustainable method? I would only half agree, because I think context matters. I mean, if we're talking about that, one of the newer Star Wars movies, where I forget her name, but the woman who was in charge of everything wasn't telling anyone anything, I will agree with you on that one. Because that just ended up costing everything. That was just stupid. In this context, I would disagree. Because if even she thinks he's dead and whatnot, and she's like high up there, she's the daughter of Daru. Yeah. When it comes to something as dangerous as the time machine, I would agree with Bob. I think in this context, she wasn't going to do anything stupid not knowing. And there are people who can kind of get into your memories and whatnot. So it's better that she doesn't know. Whereas in the Star Wars one that I said, he was going to do something stupid not knowing, and sure enough, she didn't tell him and he did something stupid. That one was where it was bad, this one is where it's not. From 2025 to 2036. 11 years, without letting anyone find out. You needed nutrients to keep your body alive. I'm not saying every now and then, but if they continue that line of thinking, ultimately I think trust will break. I know, yeah, you did say sustainable, so I know you meant like long term. But again, this is a massively long war where they're still after the time machine. Everyone is convinced that they can control everything with time. So no matter how bad things have gotten, they've still not given up on it. They're still going to get that time machine, go back, change things, and make it something that they want. Shape the world how they want. So I don't think trust will break as easily in this one. Because even though she seems bothered by the fact that she didn't know and he didn't tell her, she's not super upset. It feels like, well, it doesn't feel great that they weren't trusted. They still, in the back of their minds, still understand because of what they've been through in this one. I guess in this one, because they are on the battlefield with the context of the whole time machine thing. So like I said, it really is about context. Well, it's about context, and then it is about the person. I can imagine there are some people that, even if they understood all that, will still end up being too sensitive and hurt. I don't know, it depends. But I feel like this was the best course in this one. Yeah, I would definitely focus on the time machine, because it's like, what does time mean when you have a time machine? I agree, people ego do get better for some. Yeah. Because if this went on for like 50 years not knowing, well, you have a time machine. You can go back, change everything. That 50 years means nothing. 200 years means nothing. 1,000 years means nothing. And since I was in bed the whole time, my joints would have gotten stiff, and friction against the bed would have caused my skin to split open. Well, in the real trust, Suzaha needed to not know about Ocarina being alive. He was anyway good as dead, true, as he said. For all intents and purposes, he was dead. Because these are the memories of his... Like, mentally, he was mentally dead. So that was pointless. So if somehow the memory implant, if it somehow didn't work, then he was dead. But they expected it to work. He was only good as dead, as her knowing is meaningless. But if she did know, she would have somehow unintentionally leaked it. So the butterfly effect is a thing in this game? Very much. 100%. The butterfly is very much a thing in this game. In the first and second game.
Someone had watched over me the whole time, and to keep that from happening.
And like I said, like, in this second game, we're dealing with some people who have technology to go into your memories, or like make a copy of your memories and like digitize it. Because that's what happened to us. The reason we're back is because our memories were digitized years ago, and they're using those memories to bring us back to life, in a way. Because right now, we are in our 40s right now, where our memories are from, like, from over 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Was it Mayuri?
Not just Mayushi, Ferris-tan and Lukashi, and Maho-tan too.
They were alive. Mayuri, Ferris, and Lukako. Even in this terrifying world, they were still alive, and still looking after me. They had been for years.
I'm guessing, are they the only ones who know? Or just the ones that are tasked with taking care of us as the ones who are our friends, as the OGs?
Hey, Daru. Why did I wake up now? My memories had been digitized in 2011. If they'd known those memories existed, they could have downloaded them into me a lot earlier, right?
That's easy to explain. Until just a little while ago, we didn't know where they were. Ah. They didn't know where they were, so there was no 100% for sureness if they could even get them. So yeah, as far as they were concerned, we were dead until they got those. So it is meaningless for anyone to know we're alive then. Other than the enemies. The only part where it's meaningful is the enemies. Actually, Stratfor had been holding on to your and Kurisu's memory data the entire time. We just didn't know where it was. I found it 2 weeks ago. Want to guess where it was? It'll shock you. It'll shock me? I mean, there's only a few places I could think of that I would even recognize. The radio building, the lab. I guess, what are they called? Saren's building? Saren's HQ?
Where?
Oh, right. I should have guessed that. Well, he said it was art college, so I wouldn't have guessed that, but I should have guessed, like, a college. Or wait, or did they go to that college? Right next to us the whole time. It was at our college.
まさか
Yeah, Tokyo
東京
Denki.
電機大学か。
I would not have thought of that.
No way. Tokyo Denki.
その地下に連中の支部があったんだ
They
よ。
had a base in the
つ
basement.
っても
Not
今
that
は
there's much
ほと
of
んど
anything
廃
left
墟
there
にな
now.
ってるけどな。
Stratfor had a base in the basement of Tokyo Denki.
で、半月前にオカ
So
リン
2
の
weeks
記
ago,
録データを
we
サル
managed
ベ
to
ージ
salvage
した
your memory
僕た
data
ちは
and download it into your
早速
brain.
脳にデータをダウンロードした。
But for the next 10 days, I hadn't woken up. And just as they were about to give up, I'd finally awoken. After 25 years.
Why was I alone, though?
25 years. I stared at my hands. They were so thin I could almost see the bone. I could see veins popping out of them. The face reflected in the glass was unhealthy and wrinkled. My hair was starting to turn white.
Thank you for the hydrate. I need to grab a new bottle. Also, I need to check on something real quick. Yeah, my phone's not charging for some reason. It's... Okay, whatever.
My hair was starting to turn white, too.
起きたら25年後だった。
So I woke up after 25 years. I'm just like Urashima Taro.
気持ちの整理がつかないのも
I can understand that it'll take you a while to process it.
Of course, it was a shock. But the most shocking thing was
この記憶は
these memories were once data, huh? My memories since I was a kid. My memories of that summer. My memories with Kurisu. All of them have been transformed into zeros and ones. Could you still say that I was a person?
Couldn't you kind of argue the same thing with the time leap?
Could I still be called human?
でもそれを言うならマキセ氏のタイムリープマシン技術
You
だ
read
っ
my
て
mind.
同じじゃん。
But it's the same as Makase, she's time leap technology, right?
オカリンはあれ
You went through that a bunch of times,
何度も経験
didn't
したは
you?
ずっしょ。
He was right. But even if I knew it in my head, it still felt strange.
Hello, Space Girl. Welcome in. Thanks for your daily check-in. And thank you for the lurk.
I'd been cut off from 25 years of time. It had all been forgotten and left behind in a digital world. It felt like it had been stolen from me.
私はやっぱり納得いかない。
Did I speak too soon on her? I still can't accept this.
そう言うなって鈴葉。
Ah, don't say that, Suzuha.
父さんはいい。
You're lucky, Dad. You managed to deceive the whole world that way.
だから仕方
I
な
didn't
か
have
っ
a
たんだっ
choice.
てば。
Deceived, huh? I'd been deceived too. I'd been told I was fated to die in 2025.
Right. So I wonder, this is an alternative thing from the first game. Because the first game ultimately does end. Deceive the whole world. I've heard it somewhere. Wasn't that from... I don't know if you're talking about something outside of this, or if you're talking about Rintaro.
Because, like, when they made the first game, I feel like that was probably the only game, and they didn't intend for a second game, maybe. So it feels like when they said he was dead, he was dead. But since they're making the second game with this whole alternative idea, and that even in the beta worldline, that wouldn't change. But no matter how it had happened, I was alive right now. Even in the past, I'd been deceived by the future. And it wasn't just me.
I mean, it's semantics. I mean, from the first game, it mean really a lot to the plot, that phrase, deceive the whole world. I mean, it did, yeah. Especially when it came to the actual final ending, when it came to Steins Gate. Because in order to deal with Karisu's death, he just had to think she was dead. As far as he was concerned, he saw her as dead and then went on that whole journey. So as long as he sees her as dead and goes on that journey, it can all come full circle. She didn't actually have to die, she just had to seem dead to him. Because it's not like he was a medical student who had examined her or anything. He just saw someone on the ground in blood. And this almost works the same way, where you just needed to think you were dead. I mean, it's a little different because he didn't see it. He just hears about it. But still. But then again, it's sort of semantics, because as I said, like, he was mentally dead. And they only just now got his memories back. Same here, the world needed to see him dead. Yeah. That's why Okabe dying in 2025 is needed, only for people to think he died. Suzuha and everyone else. The whole world had been deceived. My only question is, I saw the time machine they're working on. Suza is still here. She hasn't gone back yet. And she's seen us now. Is this a world line where she sees us before she goes back, as opposed to the other ones? Where she actually knew we were alive. In a way. But just convinced herself of like, well, technically we were dead. The actual other Rintaro is dead. The world was deceived. And then there was a knock on the outside of the door. There was a visitor, it seemed. Mayuri? Suzuha got close to the door. Moe moe for you. Bakyun kyun. After hearing the world's most ridiculous password, Suzuha unlocked the door. It opened and a young girl came in. Young girl? Kaguri. Uncle Daru, Big Sis Suzuha. Daru. Kaguri, I told you not to come here unless you had a reason. Kaguri. This child was a young Kaguri. Sorry, but Mommy and everybody else left, and they haven't come back. Now, don't get so mad. You're spoiling her again, Dad. You need to be strict at times like this. The way they interacted hadn't changed in 25 years. I had ignored them and looked at Kaguri. And she seemed to notice me too. Hello.
こんにちは。
Hello.
おじさんは
Who
誰？
are you, mister?
俺か。
Me?
俺は
I'm...
ん？
そうだな。
I'm...
君の
I
マ
know.
マの友
I'm
達
a
だ。
friend of your mother's. I hesitated for a moment, but decided not to give her my name.
まゆりママの？
A friend of Mommy Mayuri's?
ああ、そうだ。
Yeah, that's right.
へえ。
ママは優しいか？
Is your mommy nice? Yep.
ママのこと好き
Do
だ。
you like her? Yep, I love her.
そうか。
I see. I could see the love she felt for her mother radiating from her face. Kaguri's Nico smile is cute? True. Mayuri must have raised her with a lot of love, too. She had been raised with everything Mayuri could give her. But after this, she was going to go to the past. She would be all alone in the past, separated from her beloved Mayuri. And then they would catch her and use her as a test subject.
そういえば父さん。
Hey
まゆ姉
Dad,
さんには
did
伝
you
えた
tell
の
Big
か？
Sis Mayu that Uncle
お
was
じ
up?
さんが目覚めたこと。
No, because we're just now here.
あ、いかん。すっかり忘れてた。早く教
Oh,
えてやら
no,
んと。
I forgot. I need to do that. He took out what looked like a small wireless radio.
こちら、バレルタイター。応答
This
せ
is
よ。
Beryl
こ
Taitor.
ちら、バレ
Come
ル
in.
タイター。
This is Beryl Taitor.
こちら、スターダストシェイクハンドです。どうぞ。
Of course. This is Stardust Handshake. Over. The voice I heard from the speaker was definitely Mayuri's. It felt a lot calmer than what I was used to, but it was definitely Mayuri. Wait, what was Stardust Handshake?
かがりちゃん。誰
Oh,
おじさんのところ
Kaguri.
にいるの？
You're with Uncle Daru?
おじさんは大事なお
He's
仕事があ
busy
る
with something
から
important, so don't bug him too
あんまり
much,
邪魔し
okay?
ちゃダメだよ。
Okay.
そんなことよりまゆし、スペシャルなニュースだ。
Anyway, Mayushi, I've got special news for you.
スペシャルなニュース？
Special news?
ああ、心して聞いてくれ。
You ready for this?
オカリン
Okarine's
が
awake.
目覚めた。
Really? Okarine's really?
どうしたの？まゆし。
What's wrong, Mayushi?
おかりんが。
She didn't say nya.
おかりんが。
Okarine. Okarine's.
もしかして岡部さん、目を覚ましたんですか？
Did Okabe wake up? That doesn't sound as light as when he was younger.
本当？おかりん、起きてるにゃ。
Really? Okarine's awake, nya? Okay, there it is. Spoke too soon. I usually shock got goosebumps. I heard one voice I knew after another, coming from the radio. The voices didn't seem to have changed all that much. A little.
そういうわけで3人ともすぐに戻ってきた方がいい。
Although these are voices that were all from after puberty, so the change wouldn't be huge. So I want you three to come back right now.
まゆし、どうした？
Mayushi.
まゆし、
What's wrong, Mayushi?
ダメ。まゆしは
It's no good. She's crying too much to talk, Nya.
まあ、無理もないよな。
Well, I can see why. She wanted Ocarine back more than anyone. Mayuri. Anyway, you should get back here as soon as possible. Got it. We'll come back as soon as we get provisions, yeah? Just feels easier to just go ahead and say your stupid yeah. Everyone else was overjoyed, but I saw that Suzuha's expression was clouded.
どうした鈴葉
What's wrong, Suzuha?
なんで眉姉さんたち食
Why are you guys going out to get food? That wasn't planned for
今日は予
today.
定になかったはずだ。
え
Huh?
そんなはずない。確かに今日だって昨日の夜遅くに
We got a message? Uh-oh. See, the moment she said that, that concerned me. As soon as Suzuha said that that wasn't the plan. Sure it was. We got a message last night that it was today, nya?
まずい。それは罠だ。
No,
みんな
it's a
すぐ
trap.
に戻って
Everyone, get back here now! A scream from the speaker cut her off.
どうした？何があった？
What's wrong? What happened?
襲撃です。敵襲だ。
We're under attack. The enemy.
くそ。
Damn it!
マイルちゃん、リリーさん、逃げて。
Mayuri, Ferris, run. I'll hold them off.
でも、そんなことしたらルカニャンが。
But if we do that, Neil...
大丈夫です。
I'll be fine. Hurry. No, Luca! Luca Nyan?
父さん。
Dad. Right. In theory, Mayuri has to survive to push Kaguri in the time machine, right? But we weren't there, and Luca wasn't there, and Ferris wasn't there. Suzuha started running, and Daru followed after.
待ってくれ誰
Wait, Daru,
俺も行く
I'm going too.
でもオカリンその体じゃ
But Okrin, in your condition,
行かせてくれ
let me go, please. He hesitated for a moment, but then quickly nodded and offered me his shoulder. He was a little thinner than when he was young, but his shoulder was still gigantic. I put my weight on it as we followed Suzuha. When we finally got there, I saw several silhouettes. I had been mentally preparing myself for a fierce battle, but the whole place was dead quiet. There were several men dressed like soldiers lying on the ground nearby. In front of them was Suzuha. Kneeling next to her were two women. And at their feet...
ルカ
I was about to say Luca. I could tell at a glance. Can I see him, please? And the person lying there was Lukako.
ほか。リ
So the two women are Mayuri and Ferris? The two women looked up at me.
オカリ。
Yep.
ルカニャンが。ルカニャンが。
Mayuri and Ferris both seemed beaten down by the passage of time.
ああ
岡部さん。
His features had grown more gallant, but his face was still soft and feminine. I want to see. Show me. Lukako looked at me with hazy eyes.
ルカ子
本当に
Is it really you,
さ
Okabe?
なんですか？
あ
Yeah,
ルカ子
Lukako.
俺だ
It's me.
そのようだ。
You called me
本
Lukako.
物の
It really is you.
A single trail of blood dripped from Lukako's mouth. His outfit was stained with blood over his right breast, and the blood dripped over onto the ground. I knew immediately that the wound was fatal. Let me drink some water.
よかった。さっきの話は
I'm glad. What I just heard
ですね。
was true.
あ
Yeah,
お前
Thanks
たち
to
の
you.
おかげで
I was able to wake
目
up.
覚めることができた
Thank you.
ありがとう
Didn't he say something about there being some gray? Do you mean these like little lines? Because that looks more like lighting than gray. I don't feel like he looks entirely what he described before. Low key, he kind of almost looks the same.
Lukako's hand reached up towards the sky, as if he was looking for something.
He doesn't look all that old to me? Yeah, seriously. It's not even the same as, like, Daru. Like, I'm not good with ages anyway, especially with my own baby face, but, like... I'd believe if you said he was, like, in his late 20s or something. Almost even, like, mid-20s. The way that this art is.
Maybe he couldn't even see me anymore. When I grabbed his hand, it was very cold.
岡部、
どうした
What is it?
僕
I did
や
it.
りました。
あ
Yeah,
今日まさに
Thanks to the
教えて
Seishin Zanma school, you taught me.
ザマ流の心
I
へ
was able to
の
protect my Yuri
おか
and
げで
everyone else.
今までまゆりちゃんやみんなを
You know, I usually struggle with saying that in one go.
これ
So the fact that I get to say it slowly because of his dying breath was kind of nice. Not that him dying is nice, but...
yeah.
僕仲間に
I'm one of you guys
なり
now,
ました
right?
よね。皆さんの
I'm really one of you now, aren't I?
仲間になれまし
バカ
Idiot.
お前は最初から
You were always one of us.
俺たちの仲間だ
Lukako reached out a cold hand and touched my cheek. And smiled a dazzling smile.
嬉しいな。
That makes me happy.
And that was all he said. And then, the touch on my cheek disappeared.
ルカ子ルカ子
ルカ
The cold hand fell to the rubble-covered ground.
ああああ
And never moved again.
ああああなんてことだ
How could this happen?
よかった。ルカ君は
I'm glad.
オカリンとずっと
Lukako
会い
always
たがっ
wanted
て
to see
いたから
Ocarine. I'm glad he got to see him in the
最後
end.
に会えたのは本当によかった。
Glad. She was glad. After this.
They've been living in war for a long, long time, where death was around the corner. They could die at any moment. And especially for the last 10 years, where you've been in a sort of coma of sorts, I guess, because your mind was broken and everything. That unless they got those memories back, you were dead. So yes.
Mayuri's words made me realize how hellish the last 25 years I'd slept through must have been.
漆原ルカ、あなたはとても立派に戦いました。
Luka
私た
Urushibara,
ちは
you fought
あ
splendidly.
なたに救われ
You
ました。
saved us. Please, rest in peace.
安らかに。
This is just. It's not fair.
こんなのあんまりだろ。
まゆしは
Where's Mayushi?
泣き疲れて眠ったよ。
She cried herself out and went to sleep.
無理もないよな。
I can understand that.
まゆしはルカ氏と
She and
ずっ
Lukashi
と
were
仲
good
良か
friends.
ったから。
ルカ兄さん、
Brother Luka.
Lukako was dead. He died protecting Mayuri and Ferris.
Oh god, don't get PTSD.
In my mind, his death overlapped with Mayuri's.
Don't do it. That's not a good thing to do.
Mayuri's hands got colder. And so did Lukako's. It was the same no matter where I went. Mayuri, Lukako, and Kurisu. Everyone dies.
That's why you gotta find STEINS Gate.
あの戦争をきっかけに
A lot of people died after that war started.
小学校の友達も
All our friends from elementary
中
school.
学高校の
All our
友
friends
達
from
も
middle and high school.
大学の友
All our
達も
friends from college.
親戚も
Our
先
relatives.
生も知り合
Our
いも
teachers.
大人
people
も
we
子
knew,
供も
Kids,
それから
adults, even the
大
people we
切な
loved.
人も
Yuki.
たくさんの
So many
本
people.
当にたくさんの
So many
人
people
間が
died.
死んだんだ。
I knew this was coming. At least, I thought I knew. If I didn't reach Steins Gate, if I stayed in the Beta Worldline, the world would eventually burn. I'd heard it 1,000 times. And I thought I knew what the future would be like. But in the end, it was just a story about the distant future. It didn't feel real at all. I could only imagine it. All I had were vague, unrealistic ideas. All the thousands of nightmares I'd experienced. I'd thought nothing could be worse than that. But when I saw it with my own eyes, heard it with my own ears, and felt it on my own skin, I realized that everything I thought was wrong. Piles of bodies. Wild dogs, devouring human corpses. Dead soldiers. The smell of burning flesh. The smell of rotting organs. The warmth of Lukako's blood in my hands. The warmth of Mayuri's blood. The warmth of Kurisu's blood. I thought that if nothing else, I managed to save Mayuri.
No, you just prolonged.
I'd let Kurisu die, and turned my eyes away from reality, and told myself that at least I'd save Mayuri and the others.
Yeah, you were trying real hard when you literally had someone from the future telling you, no.
But in the end, I hadn't saved anyone.
It's kind of funny. When I look at this one feels a little older, and the other one that we just saw holding Luca felt younger.
Even if I had, I'd only saved myself. I was the only person I'd managed to save. No one else. Not Kurisu. Not Mayuri. Not Kaguri. Not Lukako. I hadn't saved anyone.
クリスをアマデウスの呪縛から解放
Release
してやってくれ
Kurisu from the bonds of Amadeus.
Huh?
伝言
A message
2025
From
年
you
のオカリンから
in the year 2025.
俺の
A message from myself.
シュタインズゲート世界線への道は険しい。一度や二度
The
やり
path
直
to
した
STEINS
ところ
Gate
で
is a hard
た
one.
どり着ける道では
Trying
ないだろ
again
う
once or twice probably won't get you there.
けれどまずはそ
But
こ
I
から
think
始め
starting
る
there
こ
is
と
the
が
best way to get to
シュ
it.
タインズゲートへとつながるんじゃないか。いくつもの未来の先が過去へとつながっているん
I
じゃ
think
な
that many
いか。
futures are connected to the past.
11年前、オカリンは
That's
そう
what you
言
said
ってた。
11 years ago.
クリスを解放
Release Kurisu.
だからさ、僕たちがいるこの世界も無駄じゃない。
So this world
き
we're
っと
in
必要
isn't
な世界
wasted.
なんだ。
It's a world that we
少なく
need.
とも
At least
今の僕はそう思って
that's what I
る。
think. Yeah, because from my point of view, so far, I just see this game as like taking place in between the Rintaro who went back to the past at the very end and got to STEINS Gate, and the Rintaro who left him the message after he came back after killing Kurisu. The message being like, don't give up, keep fighting, I kept going. This feels like this is the Rintaro that kept going, that kept fighting, and went through even more hell before that other Rintaro got to STEINS Gate.
もちろん。だからってこ
Of
のままで
course.
いいってわけ
That
じゃ
doesn't
ない。
mean I'm okay with things as they are.
ダル
Daru.
だからさ、オカリン、
So, Ocarine,
もう一度戻っ
Why
て
not go
考え
back
て
and
みて
think
も
about
いいんじゃね？
to the moment when your
オ
memory's
カ
cut
リンの
off.
記憶の途切れたその時間に。さ、
Close, like 99% close, but a little bit not it.
2011年にか。でもそんなこと
To 2011. But that's not. I could see my aged body in the glass.
第一
And
この
anyway,
姿のまま
even
戻っ
if I
た
did
とこ
go
ろで
back, what could I
俺
do?
に何ができる
できるわ。
Maho? Amadeus Maho? You can do it. From the radio. The real one?
I heard a voice I recognized from the radio.
久しぶりね、岡部さん。11年ぶり
It's been a while, Okabe. 11 years, I think.
ヒヤジョーさんか。
Hyajo?
部屋の奥を見なさい。
Look in the back of the room.
As if he'd known what she was going to say, Daru had moved to a spot in the back of the room, where the lights didn't reach.
Amadeus?
Suddenly, it got brighter, and I saw...
電話レンチかっこかり。
the phone wave.
あなたや橋田さんから話を聞いて私が作ったものよ。
I made this after hearing about it from you and Hashida.
ちゃんと VR
See?
ヘッドも用意して
It's got a
あるでしょ
VR headset, too.
こんなこともあろうかと。
I've got a
リフタ
lifter
ー
ready,
も
too.
用意してやる。
I thought this might happen.
Daru went on to explain that for the last 11 years, he'd maintained an environment where I could receive the time leap, even in a coma.
So in the end, he's managed to go to the future while still being the Rintaro of the past. Interesting. So anyway, he gets to go to the future, see it firsthand, but not learn anything too overly important and not have like a couple decades of memories that he'd be bringing back with him. He'd be going back to how he was, as if it was just him stepping into a world line and then back again. But it's interesting for us, the player, to step away from the world lines and go to this whole future thing. Because what happened to the actual Rintaro that answered that call? What world line did he end up in? Like, what were things like after he answered that call?
Daru went on to explain that for the last 11 years, he'd maintained an environment where I could receive the time leap, even in a coma. That made sense. Even if I was in a coma, as long as I put the receiver up to my head, it would still function. Mayuri and the others had taken care of my body since 2025. So Daru and Maho had known that this day would come 11 years ago. Or maybe I told them so, back in 2025.
改良を重ねた結果、跳躍
Our improvements mean that it's now possible to go back in time 336 hours.
一度の跳躍で1週間は遡ること。
336時間。
336
2週
hours.
間か。
2 weeks.
ただし、それも途中まで。
But that will only get you part of the way back. We've made the modifications to the machine about 10 years ago. So beyond that, you'll only be able to go back 48 hours at a time. Oh god. That's gonna be fun. The other person that did that, didn't they kind of go a little bit insane? I mean, before they did it, they were a little insane because of the agony that they suffered that brought them to go back into the past. What was her name? Nai. Or Nai, something like that. The Braun Tube Workshop's daughter. She was insane. A little bit insane before she did it, but then especially after she did it.
In other words, if I wanted to go back to the end of January 2011, I'd need about 3,000 time leaps. God.
とてつもなく辛い旅になるわ。それでも
It's gonna be a long and painful journey, but if you're still up for it...
Almost 3,000 time leaps. Was I really capable of something like that anymore?
Doesn't matter, you gotta do it.
しんどくなったら途中で休めばいい。
If you get tired, you can rest part way. I mean, technically, you can rest many times over. As long as it's like maybe half an hour. But that'll add on some extra leaps.
タル。
But slow and steady, either way.
大丈夫よ。どの時間にたどり着いても
Don't worry. No matter what year it is, we'll always be with you.
野城さん。
私ね、
You know,
後悔
I've
し
got a lot of regrets.
アマデウスのせいで
Thanks to Amadeus, even after her death,
死んでもな
a lot of people tried to use her for
お
evil.
人々に利用されようとしていた。何年も
For years.
何十年も
For decades.
だから私からもお願い。
So I want your help too.
あの子
Release her.
クリスを
Release Karisu from that ugly spiral of greed.
クリスを救ってあげて。
Save Karisu.
それができる
You're the only one who can.
岡部さん。あなた
I didn't know if I could do it anymore. There was no guarantee that the path I was about to travel would ever lead to Stein's Gate. But even so,
もう一度。
maybe I should think it over again.
か。
What could I do? What should I do?
二人とも
Alright, guys.
頼む。
I'm in.
オキドキ。
As soon as the words were out of his mouth, he started getting ready.
岡部さん。もしも次にクリスに会えたら言って。
If you ever see Karisu, tell her
未来の
that in the
私は
future, I beat her time leap record 7 times over.
可能にしたわよって。
You beat the record of a dead woman. But okay, I'll tell her.
わかった。
Got it. If I ever saw Karisu,
オカリン、こっちの準備は
oh
OK
great,
だ。
I'm all set.
早いな。
That was fast.
メンテは怠ってないから
I've
ね。
always kept it maintained.
さすがだな。
I figured you would.
まあな。
I bet. The phone wave and the VR headset. They looked a little different from what I'd seen in the old lab, but they were still our future gadgets.
I just hydrated. Alright, I'll hydrate again. Thank you, Kai. I should hydrate a lot.
あ、でも、マユ
I
姉さ
finally
ん
got
たち
it.
とは話さなくてい
Yeah,
い
right
の
from under. Well, that's because Ivory is doing who knows what. She finally let go of the hydrate button. Oh, but are you sure you don't want to talk to Big Sis Mayu and the others?
今飛ばないと。
If I don't go
決
now,
心が鈍りそう
I think my resolve is going to weaken.
それに。
And even if I don't see them now, I'll be able to see them whenever I want in the past.
過去の世界で。
そうだな。
That's right.
Daru smiled as I took the VR headset out of his hand and put it on my head.
それじゃあ。また
Alright. See you 2 weeks ago.
2週間前で。
ああ。2週間前で。
Yeah. See you 2 weeks ago.
しっかりね。
Hang in there.
And then, I jumped back into the past once more. It took a long, long time. The journey was unimaginably long. I looked at the phone I was holding in my hand. The date read January 31st, 2011. No doubt about it. I was back. I had finally made it back. I'd gone back through so many years.
He said we gave our memories at the end of the month, yet we only remembered halfway. And here we are at the end of the month. Are we about to go tell her to take our memories, but only up to a certain point? So not these memories? A little spoiler, they skipped time leaps in the VN, but did not in VN. Mm-hmm. Oh, in the anime. I was about to say in the VN, but not in the... Okay. So they skipped the time leaps in the anime, but not in the VN.
I had done thousands of time leaps. Gone through the war. I had almost died. I'd thought of giving up a bunch of times. But each time, I'd remember it all. That ruined world. The pile of corpses. The screams. The shouting. The dripping blood. And Daro and Maho, and how they'd sent me off. After a long, unimaginably long time, I'd finally made it back to this time.
オカリン、何
Oh,
か
Green,
良くない知らせ
did
で
you
も
get
あ
some
った
bad news
の？
or something?
は
Huh?
電話に出てから
You've been kind
なん
of
だ
spacing
か
out
ぼーっ
since you
と
picked
して
up the
るから。
phone. I
い
mean,
や
you could say that.
そうじゃない
No,
そういうわけじゃないんだ
that's not it. That's not it. Mayuri was here.
もしかしてまだお
Are you
正
still
月
thinking
の
about
気
New
分が
Year's?
抜けないのかね？
Meowbee? Meow. Oh my god. Meowbay? How is this the first time she's calling us that? I don't think she ever called us that in the first game. I don't think so. Unless I forget.
Ferris was here.
しっかりしてくれよな。
Get a hold of yourself, man.
And Daru. And Lukako. And Suzuha. And
Kagari?
うん？
And Maho?
Maho and Kaguri were here too.
もしかしてこの前の疲れ
Are
が
you
出ちゃっ
feeling
たかし
tired
ら？
after what we did earlier? After what we... So you already did it. Oh, so I came back after you did it.
この前
Earlier.
ほら、この前アマデウスのサンプル用
But
に
why
記憶
does
デー
it
タ
only
を
go
取っ
up
た
to
でしょ？
half the month? Do we go in and delete some of the memories? You know, when we took the samples of your memories for Amadeus.
Oh, right. Daru had mentioned that.
Rewake moment soon?
He'd said it was at the end of January.
あいや
No,
そうじゃないな
that's it. Just,
ちょ
you
っ
know.
となかがり
ん？なに？オカリンさん。
Hmm? What is it, Ocarine?
この時代に来てからの記憶は
You still can't remember what
Nada,
happened
umuy
since you
dasen
came to
nada.
this time.
Huh?
Mm.
Yeah.
そうか
I see.
どうしたの？
Why do you
いきなり
ask?
なんでもない
No
た
reason.
だ少し確か
I
めた
just
だ
wanted to make sure.
何それ？変
What?
なオカリン
You're
さん。
being weird, Ocarine.
Since I'd come from the future, I knew. In this world line, Kurisu's memories no longer existed inside Kaguri's head.
でも私ね、別にこのままでもいいかなって思ってるんだ。
But it doesn't really bother me anymore, though.
だって
I mean,
ここには
Mommy's
マ
here,
マもいるし、
and Luca's here,
ルカ君や
and Big Sis Rumi is here
お姉ちゃん
too.
もいるし、食べ
And
物
there's
だ
lots
っ
of
ていっ
food
ぱいあ
too.
るし、無
So
理に思い出す
maybe I don't
必
need
要
to
も
force
ない
myself
じ
to
ゃない
remember.
かって。
そうか。
I see. Maybe that was fine, for now. But the future was going to be filled with sorrow. For Mayuri. For Ferris. For Lukako. For Daru. For Suzaha. For Kaguri.
You can just say everyone, dude.
And for Maho. Did I really make the right choice when I decided to let Kurisu die?
Well, yes and no. You kind of had to get to this point. So yes. But also, that is not to be the final result, so no.
After everyone had left, and I was all alone, all the exhaustion came crashing down on me. I'd time-leapt 3,000 times.
Exactly? No extras?
I thought I'd be able to work things out in my head along the way, but I'd been so desperate to return to the past that I hadn't had time.
You madman?
My mind was worn down after all the time leaps. I thought I'd made my decision, but I'd found myself wavering again and again. I'd only managed to do it by telling myself that I had to get back before I could make any decisions. And now my head just felt so tired. What should I do now? What should I do? For now, I didn't want to think about anything. But I felt too awake to even sleep. With everyone gone, the temperature in the lab quickly dropped. It was freezing. But it was nothing compared to the cold I felt before. That world I'd seen right after I had erased Kurisu's memories from Kaguri. Kurisu was there. Mayuri was there. Everyone was there.
Okay, good. See? You can just say everyone.
It was a scene from that very brief piece I had during that summer. But that world had been so cold. And now I knew why. That was the world that I experienced when I was asleep, existing only as data. A world built only of zeros and ones. Like being alive, even when you're dead. Or being forced to stay alive, even though you were dead. The people I loved were there. But there was no warmth. I could reach out and touch them. But there wasn't even a little bit of warmth. It was like floating in deep, dark space, without any light at all. And Kurisu Makase was now experiencing that too. She was all alone in a cold world, without the slightest trace of warmth. I raised my hand up under the fluorescent light. I could see the veins rising up out of it, and the red blood flowing in them. I was alive. There was warmth. But could I really say that I was alive? Now that my memories had been digitized, after being exposed to that cold world, could I still really be called human? I heard a knock at the door, and turned my eyes toward it. Maho was standing there.
ヒヤジョさん
Hyojo,
帰ったんじゃなかった
I thought you went home.
You know, what he just said before reminds me of, what was it? I forgot the name already. Soma. That's what it's called. Soma. It reminds me of Soma. When they were in the future, in the dystopian world where the meteor had come down and hit everything and everything was wiped out on the surface, and the only ones left were those living at the bottom of the ocean, deep, deep down. But even they were slowly dying because of something that was unleashed from the ocean. So the head scientist thought of like making virtual selves of them, all of them, their memories, and putting it into an ark and launching it into space. But then some of them got kind of religious about it and was like, we have to die before the memory saving thing is done, so that our soul is in the new one. Because then it's not you. That virtual you is not you. So you had to die before it happened so that it'd be you. This kind of reminds me of that. Where he's questioning if he's even human because he was digital. And there were surveys on the Ark where it asked you if you felt like you were human, if you were actually you or not, if it was real or not.
ちょっと忘れ物をしちゃってね。
I forgot something.
忘れ物
Forgot something.
それより、
Anyway, what are you
あなた
doing here all
こそ
by
一人で
yourself?
何をしているのかしら？
Maho showed no signs of looking for whatever she had lost. Instead, she came right up and sat down in front of me.
Did she realize?
さっきもずっと難しい顔してたわよね。何か気にな
You've
る
had
こと
that
でもある
pensive
の？
look on your face for a long time now. Is something bothering you?
Maybe she'd been worried enough to come back and check on me.
私じゃクリスの代わりにはなれないかもしれないけど、
I can't take Karisu's place,
それでも
but I
よ
can
けれ
still
ば
talk to you if you
話
want.
してみて。
いやジョーさん
Hyajo. There was no need to worry about whether I could tell her or not. I needed her to make the time leap machine. And for that, she needed to hear everything.
嘘みたいな話だが聞いてくれるか
It's not exactly easy to believe, but will you listen to me anyway?
Sheesh. What's your problem?
That was the first thing she'd said after I finished. Just like last time, it wasn't something that was easy for her to believe. But Maho must have sensed something in the way I spoke, because she listened until I was finished. She interrupted me whenever there was something she didn't understand. She was especially interested in the time machine and the time leaps. I told her everything I knew about them.
信じてくれるのか
Will you believe me?
信じないわけにはいかないでしょ。
I don't have a
そんな顔
choice.
して語ら
After
れ
seeing the
たら
look on your face, and
それに実際にこんなものを
after
見せ
seeing
られ
this
たら
too,
いやジョーさん
Hyajo.
それにこれで
this
なんと
answers
か
something
言
I've
った
always wondered about.
まクリスは秋葉原に
Karisu had died only a short while after coming to
ほとんど日を行わ
Akihabara.
ず死んでしまった
Could you really have gotten to know her in that short span of time?
あなたがそれほどに仲良くなる特にあの子のあの
Especially
性格
knowing
で
how
しょ
she is, right?
そんな
I
期
thought
間に
something must have gone on for her to get so close to a boy that
それを男の
fast.
人と親しくなるなんてよっぽどのことがあったんじゃないかと思って
So what, you
いたん
thought
だ
she
けど
somehow fell in love? Love at first sight?
So that was it, she whispered to herself.
それであな
And
たは何を気に
what's
して
on
い
your
るの
mind?
I turned away from her.
岡部さん
俺は
Am I
俺なんだろうか
me?
どういうこと
What do you mean?
聞いただろ
You heard what I said, right?
今の俺の頭の中に
My memories were turned into data and stored on a hard drive.
一度データとなって
And then
ハ
they
ー
were
ドディ
put
スク
back
の中に
into
保
the
管されて
body.
いた記憶だ
The actual body. I mean, you overwrote the other Rentaro, but still.
いわば人工記憶と言って
Well, a lot of his memories were your memories anyway, though. Aside from the last couple weeks. For him. Because you don't have his last couple of weeks.
You could call them artificial memories, if you wanted.
そんな俺は
Can you really say that I'm me
果た
anymore?
して俺自身だと言えるんだろうか生きている
Can you really say that
そう
I'm
言
alive.
えるんだろうか
there was blood running through my body? But what was in my head had been changed into zeros and ones.
Okay, again, that's how the time leap works. You just did it 3,000 times and you're still going on about that?
Didn't that make me no different than Amadeus?
なんだ、そんなことで悩んでたの？
That's what's bothering you?
バカバカしい。
That's stupid.
But Maho just laughed at my worries.
あなたは哲学的ゾンビって知ってる？
Have you ever heard of a philosophical zombie? I
確
mean,
か
kind of
思考実験の
actually.
一つだろ
There's been some movies like that.
姿形から行動に至るまで人間そっくりだが
Oh, it's an
意
actual
識
thing.
や感情が結合している存在は
A thought experiment, right?
客観的に人間と区別
Something that looks and behaves just like a human,
という
but lacks consciousness and emotions. And whether or not you could objectively distinguish it from a human. I hesitated a little as I answered her sudden question.
ま、大体合っているのね。
Well, that's basically right.
She nodded, satisfied, like a teacher would do.
じゃあ仮にここ
Then
に
let's
人
say
間
that
そっ
right
くりの
here
外見を
there was
した
an AI that
人工
looked just like a
知能が
human.
存在するとするわよ。人間と同じよ
It
うに
looks like a
振る舞
human
い
and acts just like one
同じよう
too.
に行動する。誰かが困っていれば手を
When
差し
someone's in
伸ばすよ。
trouble, it reaches out to help them.
悲しい時には涙する。
And when it's sad, it cries.
これは決められたプロ
Maybe
セ
those
ス
are
なの
just
かもしれないけれ
pre-programmed
ど、
processes.
でもそれは
But humans are
人
no
間だって
different.
同じ。
Everyone thinks and reacts in accordance with their own individual processes. I mean, yeah. We just happen to call those processes things like consciousness and feelings.
I thought I understood what Maho was trying to say.
つまり
In other words,
AI にだって感情が
AIs have feelings too.
At least, we scientists are doing our best to create them.
She puffed out her chest with pride.
So, Okabe, do you think you're not an AI with emotions?
If they looked just like a person, and thought just like them, and had feelings too, they were a person.
If he was struggling with this and accepts himself, how does he feel about Amadeus Karisu then? Because he was struggling for quite a while with whether or not Amadeus Karisu was real or not. I feel like this will just confuse him more.
いや
No.
Right? It's memories that make someone who they are, anyway. Memories are everything people have experienced since they were born. So, Rentaro Okabe, even if your memories were once data, you've got your body and your memories. You're human. You're Rentaro Okabe. Don't worry about it. Puffed her chest. I wasn't gonna say a word. Not a word. And I feel like the instincts and feelings of a physical body do play a part in your personality, the needs of that body. So I feel like he's got the memories and he's got the body, so he's good to go.
ヒヤジョさん
Hyajo.
And anyway, doesn't Kurisu's time leap machine digitize data and send it back in time? That's what Daru said. So, is there any need to worry about this now?
That was what Daru had told me in the future, too. But strangely, when she said it, it made me feel better.
Well, what if the future her had said it?
こういう時クリスならもっと的確なことを言えたのかもしれない
Maybe Karisu would have been able to come up with a better way to put it, but... No, you're
い
fine.
や
No, that's
そんな
not
こと
true.
ないよ
This was more than enough. Maho had given her opinion, as a brain scientist, that I was still me. There was a strength in her words, just like there had been in Karisu's when she had driven me forward. I remembered what Maho had said before.
あなたは天才で所詮私はサリエリだったってことよ
You're a genius, and in the end, I'm just Silary. I still don't know how to actually say that. Silary.
She'd been speaking to the memories of Karisu inside Kaguri. But
ヒヤジョーさん君はサリエリなんかじゃない
Silary?
Hyajo, you're not celery.
Huh?
立派なアマデウスだ
You're Amadeus. That's right. I'm here, right now. I'm alive, and here in this time. Not in that cold sea of black data. I'm here in this time. A light came on in the darkness. My cold heart began to warm. But Karisu. She was still trapped inside that world. Inside that sterile, lifeless world that froze you to the depths of your soul. Even after her death, her memories were still alive. There were all kinds of conspiracies forming around her living memories. Even after she lost her body, Karisu's plan continued. No, it wasn't just Karisu. Kaguri, and Suzuha. And in the future, Mayuri, Ferris, Lukako, and Daru too. Everyone was suffering. Everyone was miserable. But still, they tried to move forward. All I had cared about was whether Mayuri survived. I thought that even if the Third World War came, no matter what happened to the world, as long as Mayuri was happy, that was all that mattered. I tried to think that. I thought that no matter how much blood and tears awaited us in the future, as long as things were fine now, that was all that mattered.
Pretty selfish. Understandably selfish, but pretty selfish.
I thought I'd understood. I thought I understood how awful the future that Suzuha described was. And how hard Daru and Suzuha would have to fight. I thought I understood all that. Suzuha, firing her gun and staining her hands with blood, like it was nothing at all. Mayuri and Ferris, pale and colorless. Lukako, lying on the ground and never getting up again. Kaguri and the others, whose lives were ruined by fate. I'd seen them with my own eyes and touched them with my own hands. And then I finally understood. I'd been only pretending to know, so I could run away. I'd told myself that I was going to die in 2025, and looked the other way. 2025. I wasn't dead. Everyone just thought so. Everyone had been deceived. That's right. Deceived. Me in the past. And everyone else in the future. the world, was deceived. I thought the future was settled, but a different future awaited me. The path to Steins Gate is a hard one. Trying again once or twice probably won't get you there. But I think starting there is the best way to get to it. That's what you said 11 years ago. So this world we're in isn't wasted. It's a world that we need. At least, that's what I think. I had no way of knowing what would make me say that 14 years from now. All I knew was that 14 years from now, I would know this day was coming. So maybe I should do what I said. And that future in 2036 was necessary. Then maybe a world where Carissa was released from her electronic prison was necessary true. No matter how hard the path would be, I had to take the first step. And what I needed right now was that first step.
ヒアジョさん、
Hiajo,
何？
what?
アメリカに帰る前に
Can you help me a little more before you go back to
付き合っ
America?
てもらえるか。
そうね。
Okay,
条件が2つあ
but
る
on
わ。
two conditions.
条件
Conditions.
一つは
First,
この
you let me look at
タ
that
イ
time
ムマシン
machine.
を調べさせてほしいってこと。
You're gonna have to ask Suzu.
もう一つは
And second,
あなたのことオカリンさんって呼ばせてもらう。
You're gonna let me call you
あなたは
Ocarine.
私をマホって
You'll call me
呼びなさい。
Maho.
悪くない条件だと思うけど。
I don't think they're too much, do you?
there was an innocent smile on her face, the likes of which I'd never seen before.
わかった。
All right. Maho.
よろしくオカリンさん。
Thanks, Ocarine.
When she put her small hand against mine, I felt a solid warmth.
どうしたんだにゃオカリン。一度帰った後にわざわざ呼び
What
出
is
す
it,
なんて。
Ocarine? Why did Miu call me back after I already left, yeah?
そうだよ。僕なんてそれほど近いわけじゃない
That's
んだ
right.
からさ。
I don't live that close to
話
here.
があるなら
If you wanted to talk about something, you should have said so before I left.
I called all the lab members back after they left to go home, and they weren't happy.
それでお話って何
So,
かな。
what did you want to talk about, Ocarine?
LINE や電話じゃダメなお話ですか？
Is it something you couldn't tell us on Rhine or the phone?
ああ、
Yeah. But first,
その前に
Suzuha.
鈴葉、
何？
What?
一つ聞きたい。
I have a question.
お前は俺のことを
What do you think about me?
どう思っている？
どうとは？
What do you mean? Oh god.
ちょ、お
Let
か
me
り
drink some water.
まさか。
Is Daru getting the wrong idea, or... I feel like he thinks I'm asking her out. Wait, Ocarine, you can't!
いくらオカリンでも鈴葉はあげ
Yeah,
らん
he,
ない
he
よ。
did.
お父さんは
Even
認
for you,
めませ
Ocarine.
ん。
I'm not giving you
絶
Suzuha.
対
Daddy won't allow it. Never!
I ignored Daru, who seemed to have gotten the wrong idea completely, and turned back towards Suzuha.
お前はこの半年、俺のことを見ていたはずだ。
You've been watching me since last summer.
その上で、
What have you been thinking about me?
心の中ではどう
I
思っ
want
てい
your
る？
honest opinion.
率直。
言っていいのか？
You sure?
ああ、
Yeah.
正直言うと腹が立
To
って
be
しょうがな
honest,
かった。
you've been pissing me off.
Yeah. That was honest. I chuckled.
私や父さんや
It's
マ
not
ユ姉
just
さん
me.
だけじゃない。
Dad and Big Sis Mayu.
ルミ姉さんも
It's Big Sis Rumi and Brother
Kagami.
Luca and Kagari. In the future, everyone suffers.
辛い思いをしている。
They don't know if they're going to be alive
明日は
tomorrow.
生きているかどう
They
かも
might die
わからな
horribly
い。
like my mom did.
母さんみたいにそんな世界で
And they're trying their best to
必死になっ
survive
て生きてるん
anyway.
だ。それなのに
But all you do is whine and act like you're the only person in the
自
world
分
with
ばかりが
problems.
辛いようなことを言って。
I understand her point of view, but at the same time, to understand your point of view, they have to go through your point of view. When they're suffering. Like, you can tell someone all you want about people suffering in third world countries and whatnot, but until they actually see it directly, experience it directly, people are going to be bothered by their own problems. Until they've experienced something worse, minor problems can be very unpleasant. When they experience worse things, then those minor things suddenly you realize how little they matter. I mean, it's understandable to be pissed off, but also pointless. You can argue that she's not being understanding of his point of view, but I get it. Once she started talking, she didn't stop. This must have been building up for a long time. This is why you gotta communicate. She shouldn't have been holding back.
もちろんオカリンおじさんが辛い経験をしてき
Of
たことは知
course,
ってる。
I know you've been through a lot.
何度も何度も
I
苦
know
し
you've
い目
suffered
に遭
again
っ
and
て
again.
それで
Until
立ち上が
finally
れ
you
な
couldn't
く
go
なった
on.
ことだって知ってる。
I feel like if she went through what he'd went through, she'd understand way better and wouldn't have been as pissed.
それでも私たちにはオカリンおじさんしか頼れ
But
る
you're
人
all
がい
we
ない
have,
んだ。
Uncle Okarin. She looked down, clenched her fists, and grit her teeth.
私や父さんに代わりが務まるのな
If
ら
I could take your place,
どんなこ
I'd
とで
do
もやる。
anything.
どんな辛い思いをしようが
We'd see
ど
it.
んな苦
What?
しみが
I'd like
待
to
ち
see
構え
that.
ていようがそれでも何だってやる。
No matter what I had to go through, no matter how much it hurt, I'd do it. That's easy to say. Doesn't mean it's true.
鈴
She
葉
thinks it's true, and maybe it is, but it might not be.
だけど私たちじゃどうしようもできないから。
But there's nothing we
オ
can
カリン
do.
おじさんじゃな
You're
け
the
れば
only one who can do
どう
anything.
にもできないから。
She suddenly looked up, and I could see on her face all the complicated feelings she'd been holding back.
それなのにおじさんと来たら
But all you do is talk about how it's
無理だとかでき
impossible,
ないとか勘
or
弁
you
してく
can't
れ
do
と
it,
か
or you don't
そん
want
な
to.
弱音ばかりで
You just whine,
話を
and you
聞
won't
いて
even
くれ
listen
よ
to
うとさえ
me.
しない。父さんの手前だから言わなかったけど
I never said anything because
私は
Dad was
そんなお
around,
じさんの態度
but
に
you've always pissed
ずっ
me
と
off.
腹が立ってた。本当にぶん殴ってやりたいくら
A
い
lot
だ
of
っ
the
た。
time, I just wanted to punch you.
It probably felt good to get that off her chest.
鈴葉
す
何もそこ
鈴葉
まで言わんでも
You don't need to go that far.
そうだにゃ。オカリン
Yeah,
だっ
that's
て分
right.
かってる
Okarin
にゃ。
understands, yeah? He didn't fully understand, but to be fair, he was getting psychologically damaged. I feel like the best example would be if Susaha went through this and she was trying to save her mother, Yuki, and ended up being the one who killed her mother. I feel like she would understand his point of view. I feel like she would have broken as well. And she would have done all this whining and moping and saying it's impossible as well.
I did understand. Yeah. I understood that something had to be done.
だったらそう
Then
して
why
もら
not
おう
do
か
it?
そうするとは
Do what? Punch him.
殴りたかったんだろ
You wanted to hit me, right?
うだったら
Then hit me.
殴ってみればいい
Huh?
でも
But
遠慮はいらない
No need to hold back.
すずさんやめて。オ
Quiet, you. Suzuha, stop it. Ocarina is...
いいんだまゆり
It's fine, Mayuri. This was my way of settling things. With Suzuha. With the future. And with myself.
オカリンさん。
もしかして
Is that...
そういう性癖
Is that your
だったら
fetish?
止めんけど
Then I guess I won't stop you, but... But do you really have to use my daughter for it? Can't you use somebody else?
本当にいいんだな。
You're really sure?
Suzuha took a step towards me.
あ
Yeah. I was ready.
じゃあ、本気で行く。
Alright. This is gonna hurt.
あえ
Huh?
いや
No, wait.
待て
You can go
少しは
easy.
手加減を
せい。
ハグボア
What the heck was that? Hagaboa? Can I hear that again? That was funny.
ハグボア
Hagaboa?
ハグボアハグボア
Okay.
She hit me hard enough to knock me across the room.
悪かっ
Oh,
た。
sorry.
少し
I
力
guess I
が
put a little
入り
too
すぎ
much
た。
force into it.
今すごい音したわよ。
I just heard a really loud crunch. Are you okay, Ocarine? The legend is born once again.
Everyone ran over and looked down at me. Yeah, that hurt a lot. And probably did more damage to my brain than reading Steiner or the time leaps. But...
岡部さん。
It woke me up.
Here we go.
Now, I just had to do what I could.
おかりん
もしかして、
Is that Kioma?
オカリン。
違うぞ
No,
まゆり
Mayuri.
法院
I am Kioma
だ
Hyoen.
I know it does sound better the other way around, but I'm an American. Filthy American.
京馬さん。
そうだ
Yes,
我が
my name is Kioma Hyoen,
ラボメンナンバー001
lab member number 001, the founder of this lab, the man who longs for chaos, the mad scientist who will upend the ruling hierarchy of the world, Kioma Hyoen. Lukako.
Right.
Bring me my white lab coat.
Right. Okay. I mean, Kioma. Kioma. Kioma's back, Nya.
父さん。
D-
これは。
Dad, what is this? What did I do? Did I break him?
やったなスズハ
You did it,
よ
Suzuha.
うやくオカリンが
Okarin's finally ready to fight.
京馬さん。どうぞ。
Here you are, Kioma.
うむ
Indeed. I put my lab coat on for the first time in a very long time. I had been sitting on the shelf in the back so long that it smelled a little moldy.
It. Sorry, the T was behind my mic arm. I mean, the whole word was behind my mic arm, but especially the T.
That's right. And this is it. This is my holy silver armor. At this moment, Kiyoma Hyoen has awakened. He has revived from his long slumber. Kaguri and Maho were seeing Kiyoma Hyoen for the first time, and they were shocked into silence. What? What just happened? Did that punch drive him crazy? In a way. I remember now. Huh? Kiyoma Hyoen. Mommy used to talk about him all the time. She said that someday, Kiyoma Hyoen would come back to life and bring light to our future. I'm having a really hard time keeping up with all this. Are you trying to okay. You. The lolly.
Huh?
Hmm? You. I'm talking to you. What? You're not talking to me, are you? You're the only lolly here, aren't you? Who are you calling a lolly? I give you the honor of being lab member 009. You shall be my servant and participate in our operations. Why do I have to be your servant? And what the hell is a lab member? Just like the name suggests, it means you're an official member of this lab. You must feel very honored. Honored? Next, Kaguri Shiina. What? You're lab member 010. Got it? Okay. Dummy, you already are. Wait, Kiyoma, we don't get to be lab members, nya? Hmm? Ferris and Lukaku seemed upset. Come to think of it, I made them lab members in the Alpha Worldline, but not this one. I never told you, but of course, you are already lab members. Lukaku is 006, Ferris is 007, and Suzuha is 008. Got it? Yes, sir. Yay! I don't quite understand, but Roger. Wait, Ocarine, who's 004 and 005? Well, about that. Those two numbers are reserved. For Kurisu and Moeka. To be honest, I didn't like the idea of leaving Moeka as an official lab member. Too bad. But in order to reach a future where that could be true, I would have to face the past right now. That was my decision. Now that everyone's here, I have something to declare. As of today, January 31st, 2011, we will begin a new operation. Our goal is to annihilate the coming future, to overturn the future of the world itself. That is our goal. Got it? It's me. We will now execute our new operation. My future self told me that Steins Gate waits beyond several futures. Even if the future that awaits us is a path of thorns, it will not be useless. I know. It will take an incredible amount of time to reach the door we seek. Many different organizations may rise up to stop us. but I'll start over as many times as it takes. Pray for my success. El Sai Kongru. Well, on that note, after I finished my phone call, I realized that everyone was staring at me. Please, don't look at me that way. I'm embarrassed too.
何それ
what did I just see?
これは
This is...
そう
I know. It's like a ceremony.
儀式
A ceremony. Right.
Yes, this was a ceremony. A ceremony to stop my fears from getting the best of me again.
まさかオカリンさん
Wait, Ocarine.
あなたクリス
Don't tell me you did that around
相手
Kurisu.
もそんな態度だったんじゃないでしょうね
Yes. I'm sure Suzuha is weighing her decisions right now, probably. And she might be realizing that she might have been wrong. Like, I was moping as a sane person, and now I'm going to do what needs to be done as a crazy person. She's probably thinking somewhere deep, deep down, maybe I couldn't do it. Maybe I can't take his place. I'm not crazy enough.
I'm not Okabe. I'm Kiyoma.
ふざけているの
Are you messing with me?
真帆たんあんま
Mao-tan,
突っ込むのやめてあげて
don't give him too much of a hard
オカリ
time.
ンもまだ模索
He's still trying to
して
figure
る最
things
中だ
out.
から
Huh.
そっかこれがほん
Wow. So this is Kiyoma Hyoen, huh?
そうだよ狂気
Oh
の
god, every girl's here, almost.
さんなのです
Well, not every girl. We don't have Yuki and, Kegome? No. What was her name again? Start with a K. The other girls, Mayuri's friends. What? Close enough. Every girl's here. That's right. He's the mad scientist of madness.
古のアルケミストの
The reincarnation of an ancient alchemist. Yeah.
精神残魔流の支配
He's also the master of the Seishin Zama school. Okay, well, I had to say that faster and I couldn't do it.
すごい
Wow.
ダメだ父さん
Sorry, Dad.
私
I'm having trouble
つい
keeping
て
up
い
with
けない
this.
Please, don't stare at me like that. It's breaking my heart.
それで具体的にはどう
So,
するつも
what
りな
exactly
の
is the plan?
Ahem.
まず
First,
最初に言っておく
let me make something clear.
俺たちが
Our
最終的に
final goal is a
目指す
future where the Third World War
第
never
三次世界大
occurs.
戦の起こらない未来だ
Just like I told myself a second ago, I didn't expect to get to the world line we wanted. The Science Gate world line, immediately. Just like I had to build up to the Beta world line little by little. I'd have to go through many paths and many futures. And to do that, I first had to write this world line's future. This world had lost Kurisu, and the price for that was dire indeed. But I wouldn't let the future that awaited us be so full of suffering and pain. I wouldn't let it happen. Everything had to begin with that. Even if the future before us would end up never having happened at all. That was my responsibility, since I had chosen this world.
このベータ世界線においても
I told you all that I've been through several world line changes since coming to the Beta world line, right?
まずはその原因を取り除かなければならない
We need to remove the cause of those changes.
原因って何なの
What is it, Nya?
マキセ・クリスのノート PC と
Kurisu Makase's laptop and hard drive,
そして
and her memories that are stored in Amadeus. The time machine paper contained on the hard drive, and all of her memories relating to it. All of those worldline changes. It was safe to assume that they'd been caused by Stratfor, and others fighting over them. Thus, the final goal of our operation is to destroy Karisu's laptop and hard drive, and delete her memory data.
クリスのデータを消去
You can't delete Karisu's memory data. You can't.
本気なの
Are you serious?
ああ
Yeah,
でも
But those memories are all we have left of
ク
her.
リスが生きていた証なのよ
They're not all you have, no.
あの子がこの世界で私たちと同じ時間を
Again,
過
no.
ごしたっていう証拠なの
They're
よ
all we have to prove that she was ever here.
私は
I don't want to
消
delete
去なん
them.
てしてほしくない
I knew how she felt. Until a few days ago, I would have agreed.
だったら
Then you're okay with them being misused.
悪
それは
That's not...
俺たちのいるこの世界
On my way to this worldline, I saw her memory start wars again and again,
あいつの記憶はそれに多くの人間が
and many people have been caught up in that.
そこにいるかがりだってそう
Kagari was just one of them. What happened to Kagari in the past several years, that probably hadn't changed in this worldline. Which meant that that was just another tragedy caused by the Pandora's box. That was Karisu's memories.
それに俺は
And I've experienced that world of data
データ
too.
の中の世界を経験
I've
して
experienced its cold.
Shouldn't you be saying it's
世
cold?
界の冷たさをな
That's right. I knew. I knew how cold that world was. It was a world inside a tiny box, with no past, present, or future.
それほどまでに暗く冷たい世界に
Do you want to leave Karisu in that cold, dark world
ずっとクリスを
forever?
閉じ込めておいそれに
We've got proof that she existed right here.
証は
I put my finger to my head.
Exactly.
俺たちが覚えていること
We've got what we remember.
そして
We've got the chance to build a peaceful
第
world.
三次世界
where a
大戦
third world war
平
never
和な世界
happens.
へと導くことそれこそが
Isn't that all the proof we need that she was
証
alive?
拠になるんじゃないのか
Maho fell silent as the whole group turned towards her.
陳腐なセリフね
That's really cheesy. If Karisu
ク
heard
リスが
that,
聞いていたら
she'd
笑
laugh
わ
at
れ
you.
よ
She would. She would also say it was really cheesy. But
だろうな
I'm sure.
she would believe in it though.
だけど陳腐だと
Exactly.
思えることにほど
Actually, you guys are more alike than you
真実はあるの
think.
かもしれないわね
But maybe it's a cheesy cliche because it's true.
Maho's dark frown became a smile.
あなたに従うわ
I'll do what you want me to.
ありがとう
Thank you.
ダル
Daru,
クリスの PC と
you've got Karisu's laptop and hard drive,
お前
right?
が持っているんだよな
うんマホタ
Yep.
から預か
I got it from
って
Mahotan
簡単には見つ
and
か
hid
ら
it
ん
somewhere it wouldn't be
ところ
found
に隠して
easily.
る
それは
As soon as we're done with
アマデウ
Amadeus,
スの手が終わったらすぐに破棄して
destroy them.
本当にいいん
You're sure? I wanna... We still have 2 other endings. But I wanna open that laptop. I feel like he does know the password. Or he can guess it.
He looked back at Maho, and this time, she nodded.
ええ
Yeah,
でも
but
それは私にや
let
ら
me
せて
do it. Okay, we're gonna have to watch you do it this time. Not like last time.
OK
Okay.
The problem now was Amadeus.
マホ
Maho,
アマデウスの
do you still have access to Amadeus' server?
I'm sorry. What is this? It's so funny how they go back and forth with having that typo kind of thing. Because I remember in the first game, originally they did it right, where it's just the apostrophe S after the S, whenever they were talking about like Karisu Makase, and whatnot. And then at some point, they would go back to doing this.
ええ、できるはずよ。
Yeah,
橋田さ
I
ん、
should.
ちょっと PC を
Hashida,
貸してもらえる
can I borrow your computer?
え
は
ちょい待ち。
Oh, sure. Just a second. Daru motioned for her to stop with one hand, then started typing something into the keyboard.
何をしてるんだにゃダルニャ
What are you doing, Daru-nyan?
一応 IP がバレないよ
Just some tricks to make sure our
厳重に
IP isn't
細工を
tracked. Okay,
OK
go ahead.
どうぞ。
Maho took over from Daru at the computer.
え
Huh?
おかしいわ。
That's
アクセ
strange.
スできない。
I can't access it.
どういうこ
Kind
と
of
だ
expected it. Would have been too easy.
What do you mean?
パスワードが間違ってるってことは
You mean you've got the wrong password? No, she's got the right
そんな
one.
ミスするわけないでしょ。今まで何度も
I
入
wouldn't
力し
make
てきた
that
んだから。
mistake. Do you know how many times I've entered that password?
Maho tried the password a few more times, but she still couldn't access the server.
私のアクセス権限
Looks like
自体
my access
停止
has
され
been
ちゃってる
revoked.
みたい。どういうことなのこれ。ちょっと教
What's
授に
going
電
on
話
with
してみる。
this? I'll call the professor. I wonder what he'll say.
Maho took out her phone and called Dr. Leskinen.
Will he even answer?
She put the phone next to her ear for a moment, then frowned and put it down.
So no.
ダメ。繋がらな
No
い。
good. He's not picking up.
She tried calling Dr. Reyes too, but that didn't work either.
They've gone dark?
もう、どうなってるの
Jeez.
よこれ。
What is going on with this thing? I think I'll go now. I'll check the VOD. I think as soon as I can get to a transition, I am going to end it. I do feel like I could go for hours more, but I'm going to keep this one short. Because I do need to do some other things, some other preparations for next week. For Minecraft and for Digimon Story and all that. But see you, Dust Bob. Thanks for being here.
やはりそう簡
I
単
guess it
に
wouldn't be
いかな
that
い
easy,
か
huh? If Maho's access rights had been taken away, that must have meant someone was about to do something.
別のアプローチ方法を
Let's try another approach.
ビクトル・コンドリア大学の
Can you hack the
サーバーに
Victor Crondia University servers?
OK ちょっとやってみる
Okay, just give me a second.
簡単に言ってるけど、うちの研
You're
究
making
所の
it
セキュ
sound
リティ
easy.
結
Our
構
lab security is
厳
pretty
しいわよ。
tight. He's a super hacker. Just you be quiet and wait.
大丈夫だなんたってダルは
Don't
ス
worry.
ーパーハッカーだから
Daru's a super hacker.
それを言うなら
You mean a
スーパー
hacker,
ハッカ
man.
ーな
He had broken Saren's security in just 20 hours. I had absolute faith in him. Daru and Maho were staring at the screen and discussing something. He was probably asking her for details to make his hacking more efficient. I needed to do what I could while I waited. I went back into the development room and opened up a box that had just arrived that day. Mayuri looked over my shoulder into the box.
電子レンジ
Wow, it's a microwave.
唐揚げは解凍しない
I'm
から
not using it to heat up your fried chicken, okay?
残
Too
念。
bad.
みんながお腹空いたら
I was gonna make some juicy chicken number
ジューシー
one
唐揚げ
for everybody if they were
振
hungry.
る舞ってあげようと思ったのに。
First, I needed to reconstruct the phone wave. After that, I'd have Maho help me make the time leak machine. On my way back from the future, I'd memorize every bit of how it worked, so it didn't take very long.
橋田さん、あなたすごいわ。
Hashida, you're amazing.
It was about 30 minutes later when I heard Maho's odd voice.
やったのか
Did you get it?
僕にかかればこれくらい
For a top quality
朝飯
hacker like
前だ
me,
ぜ
this is nothing.
スーパーハッカーの名は
The name Super
That
Hacka
line,
isn't just for show, huh?
じゃあ早速
Alright.
アマデウスのデータを探してくれ。
Alright. See if you can find Amadeus' data.
待って、今開いて。
Hold on. I'm opening it now.
I swallowed and looked at the screen as I listened to the mouse click.
ない。
I'm looking at all the words. I don't see anything strange. It's gone? It's gone.
アマデウスも、クリスの
Amadeus.
記憶データも、あっ
Karisu's
た
memories.
はずのフォルダからなく
All
な
the
ってるわ。
folders that should be there are gone.
すでに持ち出された
So,
ということか。
someone took it already.
待てよ。
Wait. I unlocked my phone and called up the home screen. Amadeus' icon was still there.
なあ、このアプリ
Hey,
から
do you think you could access Amadeus from this app? Maho looked over at my phone.
どうかしら。アマデウスのデ
I
ータ
don't
そのも
know.
のがサーバーに残っ
If
てないなら
Amadeus' data is
さすが
gone
に
from
無
the
理なん
server,
じゃ。
I don't think it would work.
試してみて。
Give it a try.
どうしたの？
What's wrong?
いざ繋がった時のことを考えると
I was just thinking about what I'd do
慎重に
if it
行かないと。
connected. I need to be careful.
そうね。誰かに見
That's
られて
right.
いるかもしれない。
Someone might be watching you.
ん
Hmm?
どうしたダル。
What is it, Daro?
ここ、さらに鍵がかけられてるフォル
There's
ダ
a
があ
folder
る。
with another lock on it.
どれ？
Which one? Oh. I didn't even notice that.
Maho leaned forward and stared at the monitor.
変ね。
That's strange.
今
That
まで
didn't
な
used
か
to
っ
be
た
there.
わ。
かなり厳重なセキュリティがかかってるっぽい。
It's pretty heavily
さっきのと
secured.
は火の
Way more than the rest of
真
the system.
アマデウスはそっちに移されたのかしら。
Was that where Amadeus was moved?
でも一体誰
But
が
who would do that?
そんな
Only
権
Dr.
限を持っている
Leskinen
の
has that
は
level of
レスキネン
authority.
教授ぐらいよ。
Well, you've got your culprit.
レスキネン教授には裏の顔があったか。
Maybe Dr. Leskinen's up to something,
あるいは
and we don't know it.
教授の身
Or
に
maybe
何かあった
something
のか
happened to him.
The first one.
Neither possibility was appealing.
ダル、
Daro,
そのフォルダは一旦
we'll leave that folder alone for now.
次は
Next,
ストラト4
I
の
want you to hack
サーバーを
Stratfor's servers.
えストラト4って、
Stratfor.
なんでストラト 4?
おそらく今回の
They're probably
騒動の
involved in
一環
all
に
of
なってい
this.
るはずだ。
You've done it once before.
以前ハック
Can you do it again?
つかオカリン、
Wait,
なんでそんなことまで知ってん
how
の
did you know that?
エスパ
Are you
ーだよ
psychic?
俺を誰だと思って
Who do you think I am?
狂気
The
の
mad
謎を
scientist of madness knows all.
全てお見通しだ。
Give me a sec, he said, as he typed something else into the computer.
ストラト4のサーバー
Stratfor's servers.
と
Got it.
I could tell he's done it once before. And this time, he got through a lot faster than it took him to break into the university.
そのアマデウスっつうシステムの
So you just want me to find data on that Amadeus system.
ちょっと待って。
Hold on.
Maho leaned her tiny body forward again and took the mouse from Daru. She clicked on an icon.
You found something?
The screen filled with some kind of text.
これレポートだわ。
This is a report.
She opened several more files, but since they were written in English, we couldn't read them.
これは
What is this?
一体
What are these
何の
reports
レポート
about?
なんだ。
実験よ。
Experiments.
ストラト4が
Stratfor was experimenting on humans.
人体
Experimenting on humans.
どうやらストラト4は記憶
It
の
looks like
移植実験を
Stratfor was
行っ
working
て
on
いるみ
human
たい。
memory transplantation.
誰かの記憶データを別人に移し定着
Is
さ
that
せ
what
る
they did
実
to
験を
this
いくつも行
Kagari?
っているわ。
They did a lot of experiments trying to transfer memories from one person to another.
memory transplant experiments. That was Kagari.
最初こそ動物を使って
They
いた
started
よ
with
うだけど
animals, but by the end, they were using live
最終
humans.
的には被験者には
They used people with no relatives as subjects. Kids, adults, people from different ethnic backgrounds.
じ
She looked down at the report again.
どうした？
What is it?
まだ何かあるのか？
Is there something else?
どうやら彼ら記
It
憶移
looks
植
like
に
they're
関
about to
す
start
る
a new memory
新しい
transplant
実験に
experiment.
着手しようとしてるみたい
It was safe to assume the experiments had something to do with the time machine.
Kurisu.
They were trying to force open the black box of Kurisu's memories in order to gain information about the time machine. Even if they couldn't get the password for the laptop from Amadeus, if they could access her memories directly, it would give them everything they needed. It was just like what had been done to Kagri in the last worldline, but on a more advanced level.
とにかく今はクリスの記憶
Our
データを
priority
探
now
す
is finding Kurisu's memory data.
誰？
Daru, think
デー
it's
タがあり
there.
そうか？
He took the phone back from Maho inside.
いや、ないね。
Nope,
それらしい
No
もの
luck.
が見当たらない。
I'm not seeing anything. What was going on? Hadn't Stratfor stolen the Amadeus data from Victor Crondia?
一番怪しいのは
That university server is the most suspicious.
あの
The one with that locked
プロジェクト
folder.
がかかってたとこ。
Which meant that they were working without stealing the data.
Yep.
Did they hack it like we did? Or
どうする？
what's the plan?
魔法を信じよ
We'll believe Maho.
う。誰？
Daru, can you get us
信用でき
in?
るか？
できるけど、これはちょっと
I
骨が折れ
can,
ると
but
思
it's gonna be a
われ
pain.
どれくらいかかりそうだ？
How long is it gonna take?
わからんけど、
Yeah, I couldn't tell
下手した
you.
らまるっと
Might take more than
半日以上
12
かか
hours.
るかも。
If Daru said so, it must have been really heavily protected.
しかも途中でハッキングかけてる
And
の
if they
が
catch me
バレたら
hacking halfway through,
全部大じゃん。
it's all over. I mean, we have the time leap machine, so we needed to hack in to get rid of Kurisu's memory data.
We have the time leap machine. Is that why the memories in Amadeus only goes up to half the month and not all the way to the end of it? No, I don't know. I don't know how that makes sense.
We needed to hack in to get rid of Kurisu's memory data. And until Daru finished, we needed to keep Stratfor distracted. The problem was, how?
アマデウスと通信している最
What happens to my location data when I'm
こっち
talking to
の位置情報は
Amadeus?
どうなるんだ？
全部把握されるわ
It all gets recorded, of course.
アマデウス
The
の
people
プ
who've
ログラ
got
ムを持ってい
Amadeus'
る連
program
中
can
に
see
ね
it.
I thought so.
So, get in the car?
アマデウスにつなが
The
るかどう
question
か
is, do I contact her or not?
First, I needed to see if the app even worked anymore. If it did, I had an idea.
魔法、
Maho,
一つ
can I ask you something crazy?
無茶な頼みをしていいか？
A full day had passed since the operation began.
So, February 1st?
Daru still hadn't managed to break the lock on that folder. Thankfully, they hadn't detected him yet, but that didn't mean we were safe. While Daru did his work, I finished my own, and then handed the rest off to Maho. My actions might have changed the future already, but we still had to do our jobs.
Something wrong, Suzu?
Suzuha had her arms crossed, expression stern. She had been that way for a while. At a glance, she looked calm, but I could see her tapping her arm with her index finger.
おじさん、私たちにでき
Uncle,
ることはないの？
is there nothing I can do?
We were finally ready to stop the Third World War. It had to bother her that there was nothing she could do. It had to be stopped as soon as possible, but all she could do now was wait. She was frustrated and on edge. But that was true of everyone else.
もう少しだ。
Just wait a little longer.
頑張ってくれ。
Daru and Maho are doing their best. Once Maho completed what I asked for, there would be something we could do too.
フェイリス、甘いものとか買って
I'm
く
gonna
る
go get us something sweet to eat,
疲れ
nya?
た時は甘いものが
Sweets are great when you're tired, nya?
それじゃあ僕
Oh, then I'll go too.
Just as the two of them stood up, the development room's curtain opened. Maho flinched a little as everyone stared at her, but she quickly smiled. Then she thought better of it and tried to look more serious.
まったく
Sheesh.
大変なことを
You
いっぺ
didn't
ん
have
に
to
頼
ask
ま
me
な
to
い
do
で
all
よ
this at
ね
once, did you?
すまん。
Sorry.
それで
So,
終わったのか。
is it done?
言われたことは一応ね
I did what you told me to, I guess.
The microwave in the back was connected to a different headset than the one I'd seen last year. It was the same one she'd used to take my memories. That's why she'd been able to finish this in such a short time. A time leap machine. So it was done then. Now, even if I had to time leap from the future, I could go back to 48 hours from now.
それからこっちも
And this too.
She offered me a pair of smartphones. These gadgets would be our secret weapons in the upcoming battle. I had Maho make them too. They used a simple AI to create a pseudo-response algorithm that would deceive our opponents.
さすがだな。
Wow,
こんな短時間
I
に。
can't believe you managed to make an
Yeah,
AI in
it's
such a
kinda
short
okay.
time.
自分で頼んでおいて
You were the one who told me to do it.
Her face looked exhausted.
アマデウスで使っている音声ソフトがあ
I
った
had
か
the
ら
voice software I use for
流用
Amadeus,
して開発
so I was able to
期間を
build
短
it
縮したの
quicker.
それにこれは AI な
And
んて
this isn't
大
anything
差
as
な代物
complicated
じ
as
ゃ
an
ない
AI.
こんなものでごまか
You
せる
really
のか
think you
しら
can fool her with this?
相手は
It's Karisu we're talking
ク
about
リスな
here.
のよ
I feel like she'll catch on and then choose to be fooled.
少しの時間だけでも騙せればそれでいいんだ。ダルのハッキングから
We just have to deceive her for a short time.
それでいい。
All we need to do is keep her eyes off of Daru's hacking. The goal was just to keep Stratford confused. We didn't need to hold a long conversation. We just hook it up for a short time and end the call shortly afterward. It was time to get started. But first, I'd hit the send button on a message I'd already typed to Moeka Kiryu. Just do it, like we discussed. Once it was done, I turned towards the group.
では、作戦の概要を説
I
明
will
す
now
る。
explain the operation. Suzuha, Mayuri, Ferris, Lukako. I offered them the phones that had just been given by Maho.
4人には、2人1
I'm going to have you pair off.
そうしたらこのスマホを
Then I want you to take these phones and move around the city.
ペア同士はできるだけ離
It
れ
would
た
be
方が
best to have the pairs as far apart as possible.
片方の組は
One can take the
中央線沿線
Chuo line,
もう片方
and the other can take the Yamanote line.
お互いに連絡を取り合いつつ
Stay in touch, and use the app on the phones called Amadeus.
アマデウスというアプリを立ち上げてくれ。
While Daru was doing his hacking, I left Akihabara and tried to contact Amadeus from Tokyo Station. And it had worked. Karisu had responded. I'd cut it off instantly, but I was sure of it. The app was still working. And this plan was going to use it.
She's gonna be mad that you hung up on her. What do we do once it's running?
アマデウスは
Amadeus is an AI, made from the memories of a girl named Karisu Makise.
人工知能俺たちは
We're going to deceive
今か
her.
らそいつを騙す
That's right. Our goal was to deceive Karisu. When we contacted Amadeus, the enemy would know where we were. My plan was to take advantage of that fact.
アマデウスを立ち上げると同時に
When you boot up the
もう
Amadeus
一
app,
つのプログラ
it
ム
will start another program too.
もう一つのプログラムって
What's the other program, nya?
そこの S ってマークのあるアイコンをタップしてみてもらえる
Can you hit the icon with the S right there?
これかに
This, nya?
Ferris tapped her phone.
もしもし
Hello, it's me.
オカリンの
Wow, it's Okarine's voice.
話しかけてみてくれ
Try talking to it.
今日はどうしたんだにゃ
What's up, nya?
特に用はないんだ
Nothing really. I just wanted to talk to you a little.
話がしたくなってな
すごい
Wow,
自動的に
it
答えてく
automatically
れるんです
answers,
ね
huh?
What I asked Maho to make was a simple program that detected words and phrases in a conversation and replied with set patterns. You could call it an artificial non-intelligence.
オカリンさん
Actually pretty
と
typical.
私のボット名付けてサリエリよ
It's a bot made by Ocarina and myself. We call it Salary.
Thanks to the famous movie, Salary was known as a lesser man with an inferiority complex. But in reality, he was a very talented composer. It felt a bit rude to the real Salary to give his name to something like this. But there wasn't time to worry about that now.
アマデウスを起動すると
Once you activate Amadeus, our bot is set to automatically respond to it.
つまり相手に
In
今
other
喋
words,
っているのは
we can make them think that it's you
岡部さんだって
talking.
思わせるということですか
そういうことだ
That's right. Which meant Amadeus would think I was where they were. I would have liked to have had more terminals, but since Amadeus needed the cell phone to be registered with its systems, there weren't many I could use.
Starting to struggle.
All I had were my phone and Maho's, but for a short time period, it would be enough. Of course, Maho's phone had her own version of Salary. And then there were the message I'd sent to Moeka's Rind. The plan was for her to spread information, indicating that Maho and I had Karisu's laptop and hard drive. Even if they were doing the memory experiments, they still wouldn't want someone else getting their hands on them. Sooner or later, they'd pick up on that information and come after me with everything they had. Amadeus was in their hands. If Amadeus' location data told them I was there, they would come looking. But we wouldn't be there at all. And then they'd get a call from someplace completely different and head there. The plan was to keep them occupied with that and keep their eyes off the server hacking.
以上が
That
今回の任務とな
is your mission. Everyone nodded.
くれぐれも言っておくが
I'll say
アマデウ
again,
スとの長時間の接触
you must absolutely not make contact with Amadeus for an extended period of time.
それから
And once you hang
アマ
up,
デウスを切った後は
you need to move.
すぐにその場を移動
If
する
something happens, call me immediately.
何これだけは絶対に守ってく
You
れ
need to do these things no matter what. Got it?
私はどうすればいいのかな
What should I do?
Kaguri raised her hand hesitantly.
君は連中に顔も知られている
They know your face. You should
ここ
stay
から出
here.
ない方がいい
でも私だって
But I wanna
何か
help
役に
too.
立ちたいよ
I don't want to do nothing while mommy and everyone else are
家
helping.
の中で一人何もできないでいるなんて
Well,
そんな
this was a
の嫌だ
problem.
よお願いオカリンさん
Please,
私に
Ocarine.
も手伝わせて
Let me help too.
I understood how she felt. But I still couldn't put her in danger.
すまないが
I'm sorry, but
かがりちゃん
Kaguri, Mayushi's gonna work hard for you too. So do as Ocarine says, okay?
の言う通りにしてね。ママ。わかった。
Okay, if you say so, Mommy.
That seemed to be good enough for her.
おじさん、かがりには
Uncle, shouldn't we hide Kaguri somewhere until this is all
隠
over?
れさせておくべきじゃないか。
そうだな。
Maybe.
だが
But where?
どこに？
If you were going to hide her, it would have to be at Lukako's house. Or Ferris's place.
なんなら僕の隠れ家
Why not go to my hideout?
隠れ家？
Hideout.
お前
You've got a
そんなの
hideout.
持ってるのか？
バイト用にいくつか
I've got a lot of
ある
them,
よ
thanks to my
そこ
job.
でよければどうぞ
If you want one, it's yours. They do work as long as we're not there, calling Amadeus. Calling Amadeus is what led them to that hideout, to one of the hideouts.
よし。決めた。
Alright, then it's settled.
かがりもそれでいいか。
Are you okay with that, Kaguri?
わかった。
Yeah. Alright.
And the issue was that I couldn't leave Kaguri alone.
私にも何かやらせてもらえませんか？
Was that Ferris? Oh, it was Yuki. Oh, no. No, no, no. Don't let Yuki help. What was it you said? Is there something I could do?
Huh? I turned around and saw that at some point, Yuki had entered the room.
ゆきさん。橋田さんからここの鍵。
Hashida gave me the key to the lab.
She showed us the key in her hand apologetically.
その、ゆうべ橋田さんに連絡したら、
And last night,
なんだか
I called him and he
大変そう
seemed
だ
like
った
he was
から
really busy with
差し
something.
入れをと思
So I brought him
って
some
持って
snacks.
きたんだけど。
She put the key away and then showed us a bag with the logo of a local cake shop on it.
事情はよくわかりませんが、何かで
local
きる
one?
ことがあるな
Don't you
と
work for
思っ
one?
て。
That one, that's kind of far. Supposedly. I don't know what's going on, but I was hoping there would be something I could do.
でもさ、アマネシを巻き
But
込むわけには
we can't get you involved.
いや、
No,
かがりと一緒
she
に
just has to stay with
かがり。
Kaguri. It should be
問題ない
fine.
I don't know about this. I'm pretty sure she's the real Kaguri. Unless she's actually Yuki who's got Kaguri's memories, but I doubt it. I mean, she was pretty adamant that she was so skilled too. She was definitely raised to be a fighter and whatnot. That is definitely the body of a fighter. She was adamant on the plastic surgery thing.
Before, I thought that it was maybe Yuki who had attacked the lab.
It was.
But looking back, that was wrong.
Wasn't.
If she was a woman in the motorcycle suit, there was no need to do something so elaborate. She could have just used the fact that she was in the same circle as Kaguri to invite her somewhere and kidnap her.
See, you say that, but there was more to it than that.
There was no need to take the risk of attacking the lab.
すまなかった。
Oh no. He's too easily fooled.
Thanks.
じゃあ、
All
ゆき
right,
さんは
Yuki,
かがりと一緒
you
にい
stay
て
with
くれ。
Kaguri.
すべてが終わるまで。ダ
I
ルに
want you
隠れ
staying
ない
at Daru's hideout
身
until
を
this
潜
all
んでもらう
blows
こ
over.
とになる。
He can tell you where to go.
場所はダルに聞いてくれ。事情は
Once things
落
calm
ち着いたら
down,
教える。
I'll tell you what's going on.
わかりました。
All right.
Yuki nodded. Now everything was ready. I looked around at everyone in the lab.
じゃあ、みんな、
Okay, guys,
あとは
now
手
just
は
follow
ず
the
通りに
plan and...
待って、おかり。
Wait, Ocarine,
お別れ。言わなくていい
you
の？
don't want to say goodbye to Kurisu?
クリスさんに。
Goodbye. Amadeus was an artificial intelligence. She was an artificial being, not Kurisu herself.
ちゃんとお別れして。
Say goodbye,
後
okay?
悔しないよ
So
うに。
you won't regret it.
Mayuri handed back the phone I'd just given her.
そうだな。
You're right.
悪いがここで少し待って
Can
いて
you
くれ
all
るか
give me just a minute?
Okay.
I left Mayuri and Lukaku behind and went to Akihabara Bridge. If I made contact with Amadeus, she'd know where I was. That's why I'd chosen this place. This was the first place I'd let Kurisu see how weak I was. Back when everything seemed at its darkest.
Always comes back to this spot.
An advertising van passed by, blaring jaunty opera music at a loud volume that clashed horribly with its flashy paint job. I waited for it to get out of earshot before I tapped the Amadeus icon.
Was that a necessary detail?
She showed herself immediately.
World building, I guess.
久しぶりね。
It's been a long time.
そうだな。
That's right.
私のことなんて忘れたんだ
I
と思
thought you'd
ったわ。
forgotten me.
I hadn't forgotten. I could never forget.
いろいろあってな。
I've been busy. How many goodbyes had I said now? I said goodbye to her again and again. But I'd never gotten used to it.
それで今日はどうしたの？
So, what is it today?
君に
There was something I wanted to ask you.
何？また
What?
タイムマシンは
You want to know if you can make a time
作れ
machine
るか？
again? There's that wink.
冗談。続けて
That was a joke. Keep going.
もしもだ。
Just hypothetically,
もし
if
も
you could give up your life to save a friend's,
自分の命と
would you do
引き
it?
換えに
質問の
I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at.
答えてほしい。
Answer me, please. She must have been able to tell from my words and expression that I was serious, because she took on a serious expression as well.
その友達は大切な
That
人なの
friend's someone important to you, isn't it?
あ
Yeah,
私には
There are still many things I want to
た
do,
くさんあるわ。
many things I have to do,
やらなければ
but
ならないこと。それでも
even so, if I could make that friend and the people around me happy, maybe I would.
Kurisu.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry,
実際に
I've
そんな
never
に
had that
やったこ
happen
と
to
な
me,
し
so all I can do is imagine. Which means I can't give you a real answer, but
それでも
if there was still
一人
one
でも
person who would
私のこと
remember
を
me,
覚えていてくれる人が
if there was still one person who wouldn't forget,
忘れないでいてくれる人。とにかく
anyway, forget about me. Forget about what happened today and everything that came before.
それが私の
And that's what I want.
君だから
Liar.
忘れるものか。
I can't forget.
Huh?
Never.
俺は決して
I will never forget.
忘れない。
This was a vow. A vow to get me through the time to come.
岡部さん
Okabe?
つまらないことを聞いて。
Sorry for asking something so silly.
う
No,
んそれは構
I
わ
don't
ない
mind.
けど
Did something happen?
何かあったの？
いや、
No. It's
なんでもないん
nothing.
だ。
Nothing.
なんでも。それじゃあ、
Anyway,
また、
bye.
な。
待って
Wait.
え
Huh?
あ
Oh, no. It just felt like I was never going to see you again.
そんな気がして。
Kurisu.
そんなことはないさ。
That's not true.
そうよ
Of
ね。
course, right?
私
I don't know where I got that
なんで急
idea.
にそんな風に思ったんだろう。
会えるさ。
We'll see each other
必
again.
ず
I promise. Yeah. That's right. This wasn't goodbye forever. I'd see her again. So I won't say goodbye. Not until I see you again.
また。
See you again. Yeah. See you again. Kurisu. I've got no idea how long it will take. But I'm going to reach you. I promise. I went back to Mayuri and Lukako and gave them the phone.
お別れは済んだ？
No. Did you say your goodbyes?
ああ、
Yeah.
それじゃあ。
I'm counting on you
頼むぞ。
guys. Yep. I watched them disappear into the crowded station and back to the lab. That van was still playing its loud music as it drove down the street. Should I be worried about that van? I'm kind of worried about that van now. 5 hours had passed since the operation had begun. The only sound in the room was of Daru's fingers on the keys.
どうだ、ダル。
How's it going, Daru?
今のところ
It doesn't look like they found us.
思われ
まだかかりそうか。
Is it going to take a lot more time?
早くても
At least 3
3
hours.
時間くらいは
I guess it wasn't going to be easy after all. Daru must have been exhausted, but he was still working. Mayuri and the others were sending me regular messages. Mayuri had paired off with Lukako, and Ferris with Suzuha. Since they knew each other so well, they were doing a great job of working together and running around Tokyo. Suzuha had told me that she'd seen shady-looking people several times, and Moeka had sent me a message saying that they'd taken the bait. For now, the operation was succeeding without anyone getting hurt. I'm still worried about that van. I feel like they just want you to think you're succeeding. But I didn't expect it to last forever. I wanted to get Kurisu's memory data deleted as fast as possible. But in the end, my only choice was to rely on Daru.
すまないな、ダル。
Sorry about this. Daru,
それは言わない約
you
束
promised
だ
not
ろ
to say that, buddy. I remembered how he looked 25 years in the future. Even in that far distant future, he was still my friend.
オカリンさん、ちょっといい？
Ocarine, can I have a second? Until a little bit ago, Maho had been resting to recover from her exhaustion. But at some point, she must have gotten up.
どうした？
What is it?
これ、見て。
Look at this. I feel like I should have ended it before we called Kurisu, maybe. I feel like I should do this whole operation in one stream. But I am trying to stop soon. She handed me a stack of papers. It was a printout of Stratfor's report. She must have been looking at it after she'd woken up.
これは
What's this?
ストラト4によって、
A list of
兵士と
Stratfor's
してリス
experimental
トアップ
test
された人た
subjects.
ちの名前よ。
Yep, there it is. I wonder if this will reveal that the one we think is Kagura is a fake, and the one that we don't know is a real one. I don't know if we're going to see Yuki's name, though. There were rows of names, sexes, and ages, and other information.
ここ。
Look here. She pointed her small finger at one of the names. It said, Shiina Kaguri.
椎名かがり。
Sheena Kaguri.
彼女ストラト4のモルモットにされていたんだわ。
Well, we figured that out, but now we get the proof. She was one of Stratfor's guinea pigs.
Of course. I'd known it was a possibility. That's why they'd been looking for her. And she had Karisu's memories too. But still, it was one thing to suspect it, and another to see proof.
だけど最終実験までには至ら
But
な
they
かった
never
み
made
た
it
い。
to the last phase of the experiments.
その直前に脱走したと書かれてある
It
わ。
says she ran away just before they got the chance. So in one world line, she ran away after they got the chance? And in these, she ran away before they got the chance. Why? Why that difference?
That made me feel a lot better. If Kaguri still had Karisu's memories, I would have seen a repeat of what happened in the last world line. This must be another effect of the world line change. Well, there was still no doubt that she had been in Stratfor's hands for years. And she'd been the subject of many experiments during that time.
少し心配だわ。
I'm a little worried.
Maho must have been thinking the same thing I was. Kaguri was alone with Yuki at Daro's hideout right now.
誰だよこの忙しい時に。
Who's calling me now? I'm busy.
The ringing that suddenly interrupted our conversation was coming from Daru's phone.
天主だ。どうしたんだろう。
Oh no. It's Amaneshi. I wonder what's up.
I had a bad feeling.
はい、もしもし。天主、どうしたん？何かあったん？
Sorry, Dion. Yes? Hello? Amaneshi. What is it? Did something happen?
え？
Huh?
かがりたんが？
Kaguri-tan was what?
かがりがどうした？
What happened to Kaguri?
いなくなったって。
She says she's gone.
何？
What? I grabbed the phone out of his hands and put it up to my ear.
俺だ。岡部だ。
It's me, Okabe.
かがりがいなくなったって。
Is Kaguri really
本
gone?
当か？
岡部さん、ごめんなさい。
Okabe, I'm sorry.
私がついて
I was right next to her.
一体どうして？
What
誰かに
happened?
さらわれたのか？
Did she get kidnapped?
いえ、それが
No, Kaguri left on her
自
own.
分で
I tried my best to stop her,
必死で
but
止
she
め
was
たん
so
ですけど、
strong.
すごい力で。
自分で？
On her own. What was going on? Was Yuki really... No. That was impossible. If Yuki was working for Stratfor, she wouldn't be calling me. But then, why had Kaguri run off on her own?
スピーカーモードにしてもらえる？
Can you put it
私も
on
話が
speaker?
聞きたいわ。
I want to hear this too.
I hit the button to switch the call to speakerphone.
ゆきさん、かがりさん
Bit my
が飛び出
tongue
して
on
い
the
く
word
前の
button.
状況を詳しく教えて。
Yuki,
Nanika,
tell me
comment
more about what
on
happened
that.
before Kaguri ran off. Was there anything strange?
特には、
No,
それま
we
で
were
いろい
just
ろとお
talking.
しゃべりして。何か変な映像を見たりは？
Did you see or hear anything
もし
strange?
くは音と。い
No. Oh,
え、待っ
wait.
てください。
Come to think of it,
そういえば
I did hear some weird music from
外から
outside.
変な音楽が
It was like
聞こ
some
えて
kind
ま
of
した。
jingle from an advertising van.
何か
Oh
の
my
凱
god, the
旋者
van.
みたいでしたけど、やけに大きい
I was
音が
wondering
する
why
と思
they
った
put
ら
that in. They kept drawing attention to that van. I'm like, it means something. I remember it because it was really loud.
An advertising van. Was it the one I'd seen this afternoon?
それね。
That's it.
さっきのファイルに書
I
いてあ
just
った
read about
わ
it in that file.
過去、
It was one of the
ストラ
experiments
トフォ
Stratfor
ーが
did.
行ってきた数々のその実験の中に
The experiment
ブレイ
involved
ンウォッシン
brainwashing.
グが含まれていた。
Kaguri knows the plan.
Brainwashing.
洗脳か
Brainwashing.
特定の音楽を耳にすれ
I
ば
think she might have been brainwashed to behave in a certain manner if she heard a pre-programmed source of music.
そうとでも考えなければ
That's the only way to
この
explain
状
why
況で
she'd run off
自
on
分
her
か
own
ら
right
進んで
now.
飛び出すとは思えない
That song the van was playing. It was K6205. Of course it was. Why didn't you think of that? Bro. The magic flute. The magic flute. Sent to lead Kaguri astray.
ファイルにも書かれているわ
The file also said that she was an ideal candidate for the experiments, and they were still looking for her.
もう
Damn it. They probably had vans like that all over Japan. Not just Akihabara. And she'd fallen right into their trap.
どうするオカリン
What do we do, Ocarine?
It was obviously Stratfor that had gone after Kaguri. Which meant that all we could do was... And then there was another call. This time, it was to my phone. I had Ferris prepare several cell phones for my use in this operation. One to use to call everyone, one to give to Kaguri, and... The call was coming from the phone I'd given to Kaguri. It probably wasn't from her, though. Who could it be?
Should I end it here? Nice little cliffhanger. But I want to know.
岡部倫太郎だな
The hell? Rintaro Okabe, correct?
The digitally altered voice made the caller seem even more eerie.
ああ
Yeah,
That's right. Who are you?
お前は
椎名かがりは
We have Kaguri Shiina. I don't need to tell you what we want, do I?
言わなくてもわかるな
Karisa's laptop. Oh,
Karisu's laptop and hard drive.
考える時間をくれ
Give me time to think.
考える
think.
何を
Think about
考え
what?
る必要がある交換は
The
明日
exchange will take place tomorrow.
場所と方法
I'll
は
tell you where and how later.
They hung up.
クリスの PC と
They want to swap her for Karisu's computer and hard
交
drive.
換だそうだ
でどうするん
So, what's the plan?
かがりが洗脳にあっていたなんて
I can't believe Kagura was brainwashed.
Suzuha was gritting her teeth in frustration as she listened to us. I had her come back immediately after the call. And I'd brought Moeka Kiryu to the lab as well.
率直に教えてもらいたい
I want your honest opinion.
仮に
If we do what they
相手の
want,
要求に従った
will
と
they
して
give us back Kaguri?
かが
思わない
No.
Moeka gave her honest opinion.
私もそう思う相手は
I agree.
洗脳なんて
They're willing to use
汚い
dirty tricks like
人間だ
brainwashing. If they don't need her, they'll just kill her.
容赦なく消すだろう最悪あなたもやられる
They might kill you, too.
The only reason they would have called me specifically is that they knew I had information they wanted to keep hidden. After what I'd gone through already, I could safely assume they'd show no mercy. And they were after what Karisu had left behind. Her memories and her belongings. I didn't want them causing any more wars. Which meant there was only one thing I could do.
こっちから乗り込んで
We'll have to bust in and take take back Kagura.
Kagura? Kaguri.
It was dangerous, but it was the only way. While Yuri and the others were still out there fighting. Which meant they should still think I was running around the city.
乗り込むってそんな
Bust in?
相手がど
You
こ
don't
にい
even
る
know where
の
they
かわ
are.
からないのに
どこにいるかなら知って
I
る
do.
本当か
Really?
いつの間
Uncle,
に
when did you...
鈴葉
Suzaha,
ってくれるか？
will you help?
オキドキ。
I turned towards Moeka, who shook her head.
そこまでは付き合えない。
Not even if I told you I know who FB was? And was willing to give you that information? I'm not willing to go that far.
I bet.
ダメよ。二人でなんて。
You can't go alone. It's too dangerous.
いや、
No,
大勢で
it might be safer than going with a big
危険
group.
は少ないかもしれない。
And I knew that fate wasn't gonna let me die for a little while longer.
まゆりさんたちには言わないの。
You're not gonna tell the other girls?
言えば心
It
配
would
かける
probably just worry them.
Especially Mayuri.
ダル、
Daru,
引き続き
keep working on that
ロッ
file
クの
lock
解除を頼む。
and leave your phone on a call with
それ
me.
から
オキドキ。
おじさん、
Uncle, here.
Suzaha handed me a semi-automatic pistol.
グロック。
Yes, a Glock. A Glock.
もしもの時は
Protect yourself,
自分の身
if you
は
have
自分
to.
で守るん。
I hesitated, but decided to take it. It was the first time in my life I had ever held a gun. It was a lot heavier than I expected it to be.
This feels like a good stopping point. Operation Rescue Mission for the next stream. So save it there. And then, like I said, I want that thumbnail. So call it immediately. Let me get to the place I want it to be. I can't hold down the skip button or I'll go right past it, so. Let me try to speed through it as fast as I can. There's
なん
Kurisu.
だ。
いたの？
そう、
そうよ。昨日も一昨日もずっとここに。
そういえば、どういう意味だ？
橋田も。
え？
There's Daru and Mayu.
僕のこの大きすぎる存在感を見落としてるなんてどうかしてる
Luca and
ぜよ。
Ferris.
京馬さん、僕にできることがあったら何でも
Suzu and Moeka.
岡部り私もいるよ、岡部くん。
Here we go.
Hmm.
This is what I wanted. It
全
was
員いる
X.
ようだな。
Perfect. Perfect thumbnail. So I will call it here for today. A solid 3 hours and 40 minutes. And we'll do the rescue mission for Kaguri, the fake Kaguri, or whatever the situation is with that. And the whole, like, Kurisu thing. Amadeus Kurisu. So hopefully I can get to the ending next Saturday for this route. However long that takes. But I will call it here. I will find someone to raid on Twitch. But in the meantime, thank you everyone for hanging out with me. For those who were in chat and those who were just lurking, I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good morning, day, or night, whatever time it is. And see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone. Oh, and hang on, let me see if the person is still streaming because it's their birthday. They are indeed still streaming. Oh. Apparently it is their birthday and affiliate anniversary, so raid 3.
with a pen held tight
And raid,
in hand,
I think,
sketching dreams
is it
that
5?
understand.
No, not 5.
Walls may close,
Raid
the
7.
night may fall,
So 3 and 7 are for the
but his
followers.
spirit stands tall.
Raid 4
Lines he draws
and raid
outdoors that
8
lead
are for subscribers. So you can either get the happy birthday message or the anniversary message, either way. I'm gonna go with the birthday one.
With a pen he built his dreams, turning silence into streams. In his mind he's never alone, crafting realms he calls his own. Paper whispers, secrets told, journeys inked in black and bold. Mountains climb or rivers bend in the world that he can mend. He may be confined and still, yet his heart is wild with thrill. Through each line a sky so wide, in his world he takes a ride. Every size painted bright, stars that gleam in darkest night. With a pen his spirit sings,